Drew and Baylor complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter? He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
And welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. It is Thursday, Jersey Thursday, as they call it in Guam, Thursday, as we call it here, Jersey. I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. PicKell, Jack McKenzie, and Marquise Cooley today. Good morning. I guess good morning. I don't know if we don't ever say good morning on this show.
Yeah, we're a morning show, though, technically, 11 a.m. to 2. We start in the morning. We're whatever you need us to be.
We're awake in the morning.
You want to play us in the morning, you want to play us in the afternoon. We're here for you.
We awaken in the morning, at least. That much is true.
Yeah.
A lot going on across Baylor athletics this week. Not just in college athletics, Baylor athletics. Ty Washington, the big-time recruit that Baylor had tabs on, 5-star guy, has landed. He is going to play for Kentucky and John Calipari next season. Couple quick hitters before we get into the meat of the show today. What say you on that front?
I mean, Kentucky is going to be one of those teams that just pulls guys like Ty Washington. I feel like if Calipari wants a guy and goes after him hard enough, going to be hard to make a pitch otherwise. That tells me that Ty Washington is going to be a one-and-done guy. If that wasn't already common knowledge, it's even more emphasized here. Baylor's probably a longer-term play for guys. I don't think Baylor's so much a one-and-done school, so I think it's just a matter of what you want. You want to come here and win titles. Baylor's probably a good spot for you, but Kentucky's definitely, NBAU at this point.
Are you worried at all with Baylor not getting Ty Washington, or do you feel as though the roster's already solidified?
That's a good question. I would say the roster isn't necessarily solidified. I'm not so much worried because Baylor isn't a school that we've seen have just one guy take over. I mean, we saw it a season ago. There was 3 or 4 guys in double digits any given night. So I think the style of basketball that Baylor plays, you don't necessarily need a Ty Washington. Like, it'd be nice to have Ty Washington, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if you need that to be successful.
How about this? Some other big news coming across Baylor athletics in the last couple of days. We've got Big 12 champions, individual Big 12 tennis champion Adrian Boiton, #1 in singles overall in the conference. Charlie Broome finished in 5th, and Spencer Furman in 6th. So those rankings came out actually a couple days ago. Then this. Not yet. Baylor track and field. They are on the road this weekend in Manhattan, Kansas. The Little Apple playing some track. What do you play? Competing in the track and field Big 12 championships. Tari Cummings on the afternoon show yesterday. She's Nikki Collins' first assistant coach hire from outside of the program. Tari Cummings coming from University of Arkansas, Fayetteville.
There we go. Okay. How about that? Do you like that from Arkansas?
I love it. I texted a couple guys yesterday. I reached out to Mike Neighbors, and he said it's a great hire. Said she's at University of Arkansas, Fort Smith as a head coach right now, which is, I think it's JUCO, as I understand it. So reached out to Neighbors. He said, listen, it's a great hire. Really good recruiter, solid recruiter, that she'll do solid things at Baylor. She was an assistant at Arkansas for 6 seasons under Jimmy Dykes and Tom Collins, so she knows Nikki Collins well. And I like it. Texted the voice of the Lady Razorbacks yesterday. He's been there a decade or so. I said, hey, you know what does this look like? And he said, look, you're getting a good one. Good. Like I could speak for hours about how solid she is as a recruiter, as a coach. So Tari Cummings comes in with very well recommended to Baylor.
I like that. I like that he said she's a good recruiter. That gives me a lot of confidence because that's kind of been the conversation is, can she recruit? We know she can do the transfer portal because she's done the WNBA free agency, but can she recruit? Glad that she got a recruiter on her staff. That's awesome.
One more big thing before we get to the biggest thing that I want to get to on the top of the show today, and then we'll take some calls, 254-339-1122. Baylor softball 1-2 punch. Lou Gilbert and Emily Hott both named the All Big 12 second team. So the only 2 players at Baylor that got All Big 12 awards for the postseason. Hott, the starting second baseman. Lou Gilbert starting in left field. Gilbert made a position change from third base to left field this season. Taking it in stride, leads the team in batting average. Emily Hott leads the team she led the team at one point this season with a 29-game straight on-base streak.
Wow.
29 straight games she got on base. That's nuts.
Interesting. How common is it to change positions in softball? Is that pretty unheard of?
You're finding more utility players, of course, but more utility players than baseball, of course. That said, it's not that common. I mean, for the most part, folks are sticking with the position that you learn, especially like, hey, you're a catcher or, middle infielder. Not a lot of, it's crazy how the game changes from second base to shortstop. Not just in softball, but in baseball too. But sure. I would say almost even more in softball, just when it comes to sheer speed of the game. The speed of the game is nuts.
Interesting.
I mean, the change in distance by 15 feet from second base to shortstop in softball is crazy just because of timing.
Huh. Okay. So, interesting. She's just an athlete.
Just an athlete. Both of them great athletes. And now all Big 12. On top of that, we got T-Rex on the phone lines here. Before we get to that, we're going to spend a couple minutes right now on something that I saw yesterday that I want to get to right here at the top of the show for the folks that probably haven't seen this yet. I want to preface by saying this is the Baton Rouge Regional. So women's tennis team, Baylor women's tennis team, number 3 seed at the Baton Rouge Regional. There were 18 some odd teams there. And out of that, I think there are 4 regionals. And the top 6 teams from each of those make the NCAA postseason. So 24 teams are going to make the NCAA championship golf match. Before that, though, you got to place top 6 at your regional. Baton Rouge Regional, facing rain, had to make a difficult decision, and here's what happened.
So this is one of the most gut-wrenching decisions and announcements that I've ever been a part of. Even though the course is playable, it's not playable at a championship level. Therefore, the top 6 teams proceeded in advance of all top 3 individuals. And the most heart-wrenching decision that we had to make. And the course is playable. It's playable. It's playable. This is what we play! Yes. Are you serious? You should be ashamed of yourself! That is so terrible! Thank you for ending our careers! Thank you, seniors! I'm just crying.
Oh my gosh. So that's golf.
Women's golf.
Okay, not tennis. It's golf.
Golf.
Okay.
Did I say tennis?
I thought, no, I wasn't sure. So it's golf. And
if you couldn't hear, the tournament director walks out on the podium outside of the clubhouse in Baton Rouge and says, ladies, the course is playable. Those are the first words out of his mouth. But it's not playable at a championship level. Therefore, we are making the decision to cancel the rest of the tournament. The top 6 seeds, you will move on. Everyone else, go home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awful. I mean, if you're a player, you are irate.
You're a senior.
That was so. I mean, your heart just drops. You see all those seniors realize it all sets in at one moment. Like, okay, this is it. This is our last time.
Everything.
We're done.
Packed it all up. Went to Baton Rouge to play in the NCAA postseason. Getting that opportunity. You're the 7 seed. You're like, oh man, top 6, we can do that. Yeah. All we need is just to play on par with our game. One of the other big kings, doesn't just play their game. I mean, it's so volatile.
I mean, what an empty feeling. What an empty feeling to have your career end like that. Usually you want to go out swinging. What do I mean usually? All the time you want to go out swinging. You want to be able to say, okay, I left it all out there, win or lose, whatever happens, happens. And then just to have it end by a guy in a suit telling you, hey, you can't play anymore.
Very Hunger Games-esque, how like the first 3 guys just walk out and they're there all standing. Like it's the middle guy speaking and the guy to his left, the guy to his right. And then as soon as he's done, before even taking any questions or comments, just turns around and all 3 in step walk right back through the double doors so they don't have to listen to the players.
Credit to them for not charging him.
Oh,
I feel like that could have gotten physical. If that's another sport, that might have gotten physical.
To me, it's at what point you come out and you're like, hey, field conditions aren't great. We could play. Yeah. We could do it. We could get out there, strap it up, and get it done right here, right now. But it's not good enough.
That's on it. Why do you say it's playable?
Why?
That's such a dumb thing. Why do you say it's playable, but you're not going to be able to play because I said so?
And then he repeats it at the end. He's like, well, it is playable. And like, it's playable. Yeah. It is playable. Let us play the sport that we've made the postseason for. I mean, they are on the cusp of making a national championship, and it got dropped because the guy walks out there and says, we could play, but we're not going to.
How viral is that right now?
Not very.
That needs to go more viral because that is absolutely atrocious.
Oh,
that is so bad.
I'm sick to my stomach thinking about it.
Isn't it a saying in golf, play it as it lies? Like, I know that's about the ball, but come on.
Yeah, play it as it lies. I'm thinking if I'm a senior, if I'm an athlete, period, and I made it that far, Baylor's a 3 seed, so they're going to be a benefactor of this. Baylor's going to end up moving on into the NCAA postseason further, the final 24 of the championship. But everybody else, the other 18 teams, your season is done, like you said, because a guy in a suit walked out there and said, we can play. We could do it right now. We could get everybody out there. This court we could play, or this course we could play on, but we're not going to.
And it's not fair because they worked so freaking hard all year long to be in that position, to have a chance to maybe play for a conference title. Like that was probably what they broke it down on during the summer when it was their workouts, or like all that you were thinking about the entire time during your training is, okay, this is for the Big 12. This is so we can have a chance to bring this back home to our school. And to not even have a shot at it, that's embarrassing for whoever that is. That is an embarrassing and that's an abomination for college sports. That's a horrific message we're sending to our athletes.
Do you think that if that would have happened for March Madness, do you think if it would have happened for a college football game,
no shot,
that they walk out there and there's mud on the field?
No shot. There have been games that shouldn't be played, and they're just like, well, it's going to make some money. Let's go ahead and play.
1.5 feet of snow.
It's unbelievable.
You walk at a baseball game. It rains for 3 straight days on a weekend. You got a regional going on, a super regional going on. What do? They push it back a couple days.
The SEC tournament a couple years ago, there was a tornado, tore a hole in the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, in Georgia,
and they went and moved to Georgia Tech. Like they found a way to get the game done.
And it's the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
The postseason implication, which that year, oddly enough, Georgia won it all and ended up being huge for their postseason.
Great memory by you. That was awesome. Wow.
2008.
Yeah.
But in this case, you've got players that this is the NCAA March. This is the March Madness women's golf. And they want to compete for a national championship, and they've been stripped of the opportunity. And rather than what they do in most sports, giving them the opportunity to play it out in a couple of days, they're like, look, covers run dry. I can tell you what, NCAA is making enough money. That governing body is making enough money to put it together to where these players can compete for the NCAA tournament, NCAA championship that they've earned, and now they pulled it away from them.
What's the point of canceling it? Like, I get postponing. Like I said, hey, postpone it. Make sure there's even footing for every single team here. Like, make it a very level playing field. But it's just a lazy thing. Like, it's a convenience thing, it feels like to me. I don't know all of the factors, but it feels like a convenience, a very selfish thing to me for that governing body to say, no, we're just going to let these teams that are top 6. Like, that's just a lazy decision, is it not?
I can tell you, if they walked into a room with all 18 head coaches and their student athletes, bring in one captain and said, listen, here are our options. We can cancel this thing outright and the top 6 move on. I would like to guarantee you the top 6 coaches said, we want to play at all costs.
Yeah.
We want to play at all costs. As competitors, they don't want to move on as a hey, there's some rain out there. We could play it, but, well, I don't. Those 6 competitors, they want to compete. On top of that, if they said, hey, we can move it on to a golf course two or three, an hour down the road, like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm calling my AD. I don't care if I'm Tarleton State and saying, listen, we got to scrounge some stuff up here. We're competing for an NCAA championship. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, what message are you sending? When the going gets hard, we just pack it up.
Literally.
Like if you're the governing body, like we just mail it in.
Literally.
It didn't, also, like you said, I think that's a great point. All 6 of those teams, none of them want an asterisk next to this thing because they're going to feel like, okay, that number 7, the number 8 team, could we have beat them? I don't know. Like that's going to be the thought process. I would guarantee you, you're going to always look back and say, yeah, but we didn't necessarily do it the conventional way.
Right.
I'm
sure it still feels great for Baylor to move on and make it as far as they've made it so far. But that right there bugged me to death last night. The fact that that's a group of officials with the NCAA stripping that away from collegiate athletes. And the worst part, I mean, if it had poured and poured and poured and there was just no way and there's just, oh, this is such a tough thing to do and maybe I'd get it. But the fact they walked out there and said, hey, this is playable, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, and there's just zero concession given. They leave their message and then just leave. And then those girls are just left crying, holding each other, realizing their athletic careers, for the majority of them, just ended.
Yeah, they're done.
From what you've done as I'm guessing, a very young girl to now is effectively finished.
No closure.
All because of a guy in a suit.
Zero closure.
So bad.
And the guy walks out there and this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Like, all right. Yeah, for you, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure this really sucks for you, not the rest of these athletes that are actually getting the brunt of this.
What would be hard is to find a solution, it seems like. Like, that would make it actually hard.
Oh, my thing is, what I'd love to know, and we should have him on the show. We should have him on the show.
I love it.
What I'd love to know is, did they bring in the captains and the coaches and say, hey, what can we do? I mean, I want to know the conversations that took place because, again, if you got 18 coaches in that room and you say this course is playable, I'd be hard-pressed 15 of them not say, okay, then play it.
100%. And like I think Jack made a good point, too. You play it as it lies. Like, is the course not a part of the game to some degree? I don't think in football, like you said, they don't wait for everyone to have an even playing field. Like Notre Dame, there was a rumor they didn't cut the grass the week before SC because that was their advantage. Now, again, this is probably a neutral site for these teams, so there's not like an advantage, but it's the same course for everybody.
Everybody's playing the same course.
Everybody's playing the same course.
So for those that are just joining, women's golf travesty, the last yesterday, travesty, where Baylor did advance to the NCAA championship final round of 24, but on top of that, you also have a situation in which a lot of teams got snubbed, and they shouldn't have. So we're gonna hit the phone lines right here. We've got T-Rex on it. T-Rex, this man is tall tan, and back from a honeymoon. What's going on, T-Rex?
Hey guys, man, y'all really do care about women's collegiate golf, but we all should, right? Because you know what, I'd be amiss to say that if we weren't one of those top 6 teams and we were left out because of this travesty, then Baylor Twitter would be ablaze, at least from me. But at the end of the day, it sucks. I do feel for them, but hey, regular season results matter. We positioned ourselves where we need to position ourselves. Leave no doubt. We're going to win a natty in women's golf. Let's go. Put the asterisk next to it. We don't care. Anyways, I just had, good luck to them. Hope we bring a whole another natty because the trophy case business in Waco, it's booming, man. I don't know about the rest of Waco, but trophy case business is booming. How y'all been, man? It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, we missed you.
I thought about Wi-Fi calling a couple times when I was on the beach, but by y'all, you're in the same time zone, but by 4 a.m., I was already drunk, so didn't really ever remember to call in. I get the notifications on my phone, but just kind of said, just like an ex send you a text message, you just kind of click ignore.
Yeah, take that,
sorry, guys,
FCC.
Anyways, man, what a great 2 weeks it's been for Baylor Nation. We got an awesome new head coach. We got an assistant. We're keeping our strength coach. Looks like we're going to win a natty in 2022 in both men's and women's basketball. We lost a recruit to Kentucky. You want to be one and done, go have fun in Kentucky. You're going to Kentucky. I mean, I don't know how much fun you can have in that state. Hopefully get some fried chicken and some bluegrass. I don't know. But yeah, Baylor is on the up and up, man. I mean, we got J.D. saying we're going to win or at least compete for a Big 12 title. I don't know if he actually said win or not. I was still a little hungover, so I haven't listened to that. I apologize. But I'll go out on a record and say we will win the Big 12 in football this year. And I think JD has, even though I haven't listened to anything you said, I think it's a great analysis of the why. I think it's a great podcast. But I want to know, Drake, what is your prediction for football? I probably missed it, but what is your prediction for this fall?
I would say right now I'm probably at 6 or 7 wins. While
You're wrong. You're wrong. We're going to win it all, man. We're going to the Natty. All right. The policy has been fulfilled.
Lock it in. We're going to the Natty. T-Rex, how the honeymoon was good though.
The honeymoon was good, man. I'm tanner than I've ever been, which isn't saying much.
Tanner.
But Tanner. I'm tanner. But I'm refreshed, and I will make a suggestion to anybody that's planning on getting married. If your company's going through an acquisition, don't go on a honeymoon and miss 2 weeks of work during an acquisition, because I got a lot of emails I'm still going through 3 days later.
Yeah, it's been a wild last week or so. That's all good. We're recovering. Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have fun. We got any Bear games? I missed this, man. I haven't been able to play any games.
We do have Bear games today, T-Rex. So we've been kind of following the same theme, and today it's going to end. Today's the last day of this theme. But today's question is, what is the single worst individual performance that you've had in an athletic event? As an athlete or as a fan, the single worst athletic performance you've witnessed or been a part of, where maybe you lost a game for your team or you just stunk it up?
Well, since I always spew excellence, I will not admit to ever losing anything. And I was an offensive lineman, so unless I gave up like a sack at the last second or something, which never happened, I couldn't really have that much of an impact on losing the game. So we'll go off of what I've witnessed. I will say the worst thing I've ever witnessed, 100% a Baylor moment, of course. Right. Probably just because it comes to recent memory, will be us blowing what should have been an easy win at Texas Tech this past fall. Should have been an easy win. Should have been easy. I was there. I was on row 1 in the end zone. I saw the interception return early in the game come straight to me, came to Daddy, brought it all the way to me. If he would have done a Lambeau leap, if it wasn't for COVID, we got to be safe. Man, what a just roller coaster of emotion. Same with Iowa State. I mean, those could be interchangeable. Also there in the end zone, saw that interception return as well come right to me, right in front of me. But then I also saw the end of the game interception happen literally right in front of me. So, crazy roller coaster. It's like that cartoon from a few years ago with the A&M fan base. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's like, ooh, we're with SEC. And then they crash and all die. Man, yeah. There's a lot of bad memories from last year. So I'll just go ahead and just settle with Tech. So, yeah, we had that game in the books and just let it all go at the end. I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter because we're going to win the Natty.
Tech it is. There you go. D-Rex, thanks for your call as always. Welcome back.
Hey, let's never go this long without talking to each other, baby.
Deal.
I love it. 140 calls. 140th call today from old T-Rex.
140.
Yep. Stephen from Virginia is at 196.
He's on the line right now?
After that, we got Robert, anonymous.
Oh, let's go. Dude, we're deep.
Yeah, we're deep. We're deep. Stephen from Virginia, what's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm enjoying Jersey Day today. I like those jerseys.
Thanks, man.
Who you got on, Steve?
It's a Bologna drip.
So, it's in honor of the NBA playoffs that I'm wearing this NBA jersey that was never worn in the playoffs, but I got a Michael Jordan Washington Wizards jersey, and that's what I'm repping today.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot.
I came here with another question to pose to the show.
Love it.
Other than the two non-conference games that are extremely easy, Texas State and Texas Southern, I think those you have to win those. But what are how many games do you feel like they really absolutely should win? And I was going to say the ones for me are Kansas, Tech, Kansas State, BYU, and West Virginia. So, I know that I said I would be happy with 4 wins, but I really think they should win 7 games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was looking at the schedule last night and kind of doing the same thing. Obviously, Texas State, Texas Southern are no-brainers. Kansas is obviously a win. I think West Virginia really should be a win as well. Texas Tech, I sort of leave the door open for just because Tyler Shaw is such a question mark. Like, he could go in there and light it up. Like, maybe Texas Tech is the exact right fit for him. Don't think that's the case. So right off the bat, I'm with you. I think those 7 are realistically games that Baylor should win. I mean, Kansas State was the one win they had a year ago that really felt legit, right? Like, they won in the rain, they won at home, but it was against a Kansas State team that wasn't necessarily a pushover. So you got to win that one again. I think 7's a very realistic number. I think 6 is probably the floor, but I think 7's probably the most, I guess, attractive number for me if I'm putting over-under on it. What say you, Drizzy?
I will say, for all the folks out there that are, man, I think Baylor's a 5-win team. However, they can sneak up on 2 opponents and win 2 more. Mm-hmm. Or I think they're a 6-win team, but they can sneak up and win 1 more. They're going to sneak up on somebody. Mm-hmm. Who's to say that somebody is not going to sneak up on Baylor?
Sure.
So that's where my reservation is on giving them the 7 or 8 win nod. I still think I'm teetering around that 6 range. Go to a bowl, maybe pick up your 7th, depending on who the bowl matchup is, because we've seen some crazy bowl matchups where it's like, all right, middle tier Big 12 team plays top tier, top 15 SEC team. So if Baylor goes into a bowl game against, I don't know, we'll say Auburn ends up having a pretty good year next year, number 14 in the country. Okay. Baylor's 6-6 against 8-4 Auburn, who ends up at 17 in the nation. That could end up being pretty lopsided.
Sure.
So, however, you've seen years where it's like, all right, Baylor makes it in at 6-6 and plays Ball State. And at that point, Baylor goes 7-6.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on your bowl matchup, but I like 6-6 in the regular season, and I would be surprised if they don't win. Surprised is a strong word. I think 5 is a pretty good target, but I think 6 is a pretty nice spot to land.
Bowl games to me feel like such a toss-up because who's opting out these years, who wants to be there. So I mean, we saw it a few years ago. I feel like they had everything against them with the Russell Athletic Bowl in North Carolina. And they ran the Wildcat and somehow won that game. But I'm with you. I think bowl matchups are kind of fickle. I just feel really good about the BYU game. Homecoming, we have no idea who's playing quarterback, stole their OC and their O-line coach. So I think that's a swing game. They have to win that one for sure.
We did steal their OC. Steven, what else you got for us?
Well, the other thing I was going to say is out of those, so the one that I kind of feel the worst about out of the 5 that I mentioned, out of the 7 total, is West Virginia. And I know that, I'm coming for that game. I told y'all.
It's at home.
But hold on. They were way better than West Virginia and played them at home 2 years ago. And that game had us pulling out our hairs on Halloween. And there is still one Stills brother there. So that's that's the one where I'm like, they could come in and throw out the records, and we're going to have another game like the past couple of years that we had.
Yeah. If Baylor didn't lose that game a year ago, I think I'd be more on board with that. They really should have beat him in Morgantown last season. I mean, the robbed touchdown, poor special teams play, that was Baylor's game to lose, and they effectively did lose it. And it was kind of the beginning of the end in a lot of ways, it felt like, for all of us in Waco. But yeah, I mean, that game was on Halloween. It was on a Friday night. It just kind of felt weird. If it was on a weekday, I think I'd be more concerned as well. So I see where you're coming from, but I'm with Drake on this one. At home, I kind of feel pretty good about Baylor.
Steven, Bear Games question. What you got for us?
Before you give me a Bear Games, if I come down there and I walk in Waco and we have won a natty in basketball and we win the game that I come to, y'all might have to figure out what's going to happen to me, if I'm going to be able to physically function afterwards. I am going to have to get on the plane back home. So we'll have a fun time, my friends. We'll have a fun time.
Laser guns. Pew, pew, pew.
We'll make it happen.
Steven, Bear Games question of the day. We talked about your best individual performance, your worst team performance, your best team performance. What is your worst individual performance in an athletic event?
Oh, this is not even a hard question. So that year that I told you all about where I dropped 30 and we lost by 30, that's how most of those games went. I led the team in points, rebounds, and assists, and shooting percentage, and free throw percentage, and all these other categories, but we lost every game but one. And so we were going to play in the playoffs, and, there were 9 teams in the league, and 8 teams made the playoffs, and we won the last game of the year, where I went off. I had another one of those 30-pointers where I just went insane and hit everything. And then we played in the playoffs, and I went 0 for 10 with 0 points and 0 for 6 from 3, and we got crushed.
Yikes.
Ooh, that's tough.
Nice. Steven, thanks for your call, though.
Later, guys.
I'm glad he recovered.
See you, Steve.
Got another caller on here. First time, maybe a long time.
Here we go.
It's anonymous. This says, Robert. This is auto screen says this is from Robert, who wants to learn about Oscar Mayer.
There we go.
So
yeah, no,
we'll see how this goes. Robert, yeah, I think. What's going on?
Hey guys, man, big brother, Double B's on the phone.
Wow.
What's up, Double B?
What's going on, What's going on, Joe? I mean,
hey, JD, thank you for respecting me and asking how I was doing. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good over here. All good in the hood.
Just your average Joe around here. Just Joeing around, stuff like that.
Good one, Drake. Anyway, guys, I called in to talk about my legacy at Baylor and whether or not you think I should have a statue in front of McLean Stadium.
You absolutely should. I don't know why it's not already up. It should be in front of the new one downtown.
I got a good buddy Joe that I could probably call and ask. I bet he would know. He would know whether or not you should get a statue. What say you, Baylor Bigfoot?
Who's Joe?
The Trader Joe.
No, that was a Joe Mama. That's
good one, JD.
Yeah.
Hey, Drake, I know a Joe who I can call for you.
All right.
Joe Mama. Oh,
yeah, you got me. Yeah, I deserve that one right there. Baylor Bigfoot's throwing some shots today. Baylor Bigfoot, yeah. So what's going on? You got anything else for us today? We always love hearing from you.
Thanks, guys. I just dropped Bigfoot Jr. off at school.
Just now?
2 hours ago.
Yeah, that sounds more.
He has to come home early because I got to teach him some football drills and skills later today. Wow. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to be 100% safe. At 8 years old, he started playing tackle football full contact with pads and a helmet. So he should be trying to go to the NFL in about 20 years.
Yeah, it should be there mentally for him.
He's a lottery pick right now.
Also, JD, I love the video. It was awesome.
Thanks, Baylor Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I agree that a lot of the games on our schedule are winnable games, but it's going to depend on who the quarterback is, which is why I am officially announcing my support for Bo Brewer to be the next quarterback at Baylor University.
He's not on roster anymore, unfortunately. But I like Bo Brewer, though.
Roster. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. My favorite quarterback's gone.
Who's Bo Brewer?
It's Charlie Brewer's cousin who walked on his freshman year. I think he effectively – I don't know for a fact. I don't think he's on roster anymore because I checked it anymore. I like.
Did he walk off?
Good guy.
He walked on and then he walked right back off.
He might have walked off, but he's a good player. He's a good player. I like Bo Brewer.
Danielson was the reason why Bo Brewer stopped playing for Baylor.
Yeah, Jen's rubbed him the wrong way.
Or might be following him to West Virginia.
I'll say this, Baylor Bigfoot, we can find you another quarterback to support. There's Bass. Is it, what's his name?
Yeah, Brandon Bass.
Brandon Bass.
Yeah. He's okay. I don't like my quarterbacks having the last name as a fish.
Yeah,
what about as an instrument? Brandon Bass. You just switch the pronunciation around.
Oh, hey, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
If you pronounce it that way, I may have to support him now.
Yeah, I think Brandon Bass
anyway,
is
guys,
probably the only one.
I think Zeno, Chapin, and Bohannon will be a good triumvirate in a good competition this coming spring.
You know what happened the last time there was a triumvirate? Caesar got killed.
Really?
Yeah, that's a triumvirate.
The pizza one? The pizza guy?
Yep, same little one.
No.
Little Joe Caesar. Baylor Bigfoot, Bear Gamers question of the day today. What's the single worst individual performance you've had in an athletic event? I know you played a lot of different sports, most of them at Baylor.
I know. Guys, this is the most embarrassing performance of my career. I threw 700 yards, ran for 200, and threw for 10 touchdowns, but I had an interception late in the game that cost Baylor the chance to win 75-0. Instead, it was 68-0. I was so embarrassed, guys. I literally went home and cried myself to sleep that night. But I'm such a man that's here when it came out of my eye, absorbed into my skin. That way, no one could see me crying.
Wow. Baylor Bigfoot in the comfort of his own home, shedding a small little Bigfoot tear out there in his tree, in his burrow.
In Tulsa.
In Tulsa, yeah. Yep. I hear Baylor Bigfoot's from Oklahoma. Baylor Bigfoot, is it true you're from Oklahoma?
No, guys, I'm a Texas guy, born and bred. And when I die, I'll be Texas dead.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow. He came up with that one himself. Yeah. That's off the dome right there, off the old Bigfoot dome. Bigfoot, thanks for your call. You don't ever call us anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. Call us.
Well, guys, I've been busy at work.
Well, hey, I tell you what, we got a couple of good friends that we want you to say hi to if you see them. First one being Armstrong Sims. If you run into him anytime soon, stay healthy, but if you run into him, say hello for us. The second one being a good friend of mine named Joe, who lives a little bit north of us. If you see him, say hello. Armstrong Sims fan club page. If you're familiar with that, go ahead and give those guys a shout out. And then
Bigfoot Jr. runs Armstrong Sims fan club. I don't know if you know that, guys, but Bigfoot Jr. is the one who's running that.
And then I got another friend, Matt, who used to call into our post game show and then quit calling into the post game show. We haven't heard from Matt in a while, but if you hear from him too, that's just a small list of guys that I want you to say hello to if you see him out in the woods.
Will do. Hey guys, before I leave, I want to congratulate T-Rex on his wedding. I was so blessed to be his best man.
There we go.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I can confirm T-Rex and Baylor Bigfoot aren't the same person because Baylor Bigfoot was his best man.
There we go, Double B's.
Thanks again,
Love
Baylor
it.
Bigfoot. Say it.
Say what? Oh, yeah. Don't forget, double R for Double B's. All I can listen. Double B's. Oh.
I love
He came through pretty clear that time, too.
He did.
Usually we can't hear
The woods
that well.
have much better Wi-Fi.
Usually he's very echoey, but he was
These
very
hills
clear that
have
time.
eyes.
That was very clear that time.
I'm Drake Toll. That's J.D. PicKell. We got Jack McKenzie and Marquise Cooley with us today. There's no Armstrong Sims. Armstrong just doesn't exist anymore.
No.
I booked 3 flights with Southwest Airlines yesterday.
How come?
I wish there was like a punchline here.
Oh.
Marshall Burns says Baylor Bigfoot is
Wait. Back up.
What?
You said I booked 3 flights and then we just went on a Marshall Burns.
I don't know.
Where are you going?
So I'm gonna go from here. This is in June. I'm letting you guys know. Okay. I'm gonna do remote shows from the sunny beaches of California for a week. I'm gonna go out to the OC. Go out to Orange County for 4 days. Then I'm going up to Seattle.
There we go.
For 3 or 4 days to chill and have some fun. I'm gonna do that. Lay on the beach in Seattle for a while. Lay on the Space Needle in Orange County.
There you go.
And then I'm gonna fly back to Dallas, like a little 9-day trip.
Okay.
But I'll be on the air. I'll be doing remote shows.
Boom. Bada bing, bada boom.
For a while.
I love it.
For a long period of time.
A little Blue Yeti action.
A little Blue Yeti action. A little bit of Mom Spaghetti action.
Heck yeah.
Marshall Burns says Baylor Bigfoot is always hilarious. He's sort of like our version of Al Bundy, but more awesome. Marshall, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Al Bundy is dead. He was a serial killer who lived in the 80s and 90s and has since been executed. But, yeah, a little bit too soon there, Marshall Burns. A little bit too soon on the Al Bundy jokes.
I don't even know who Al Bundy is.
Give it a couple years.
I don't even know who Al Bundy is.
He's the guy that killed a bunch of... It was bad. It was bad. There's a documentary on Netflix.
The real Al Bundy.
There's a documentary on Netflix.
Looking up who
watch
Al Bundy is.
Pretty sure, it's not good. Don't...
That was Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
No.
You're playing into this.
We're talking Al. Pretty sure it was Al.
Fictional character, main protagonist of the American television series Married ... with Children.
No, that's Ted Bundy. You're looking up Ted Bundy. You're getting mixed up.
Pretty sure Ted Bundy was the killer.
I'm pretty sure Al. If I think about
you're
long
right,
and hard
but
enough,
this is just this is a train we're getting on.
This is a battle that you'll never win. I also, speaking of never winning, did you see the video that I sent you last night?
No.
So
maybe. Which one?
Okay, I don't know if I sent it to the group chat or sent it to you personally. Shoot, did you not? You didn't watch it.
I don't think so. What was it? Let me
look
it up.
It's this super, I may have texted to you or DM'd it to you. I don't remember which I did. But it's this super very mysterious, dark, it kind of hooks you in from the very beginning. It's a sports video. I say it's a sports video. It's kind of vaguely related to sports. But it hooks you in. You guys got to watch it. It's like a movie trailer, except it really, it gave me chills.
Oh, no.
It gave me chills.
Never mind.
It made me tear up as I was watching it.
I retract my apology.
And I sent it to you, and you should have watched it. The entire content of the video is based around the fact that the first hour of SicEm365's Up-Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium member Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business.
You got me good. You got me good. You got me real good. But it helps you run your business, and I love Banson. If it was a Banson Business Service video, I would have watched it for sure.
BANCIN. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. BANCIN.
Yeah.
I'm Drake Toll, J.D. PicKell, Jack McKenzie, and Marquise Cooley. Don't go anywhere. This is Up-Tempo.
Happy Jersey Day, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Collin coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's second team. Gilbert led the team in batting average, and Hott reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Central Texas' new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. PicKell. We got Marquise Cooley up in here and Jack McKenzie. You know, I've realized most of the days we do this show, you typically wear the short sleeve shirt, maybe a little cut, not cut off action, but like just straight flexing.
Thanks, man.
Today, you've got the hoodie and I've got the whatever this is.
You look good in it.
Thanks.
You look good in it. I like it. A little Valonia homage.
It's my Valonia homage.
Was that was the game uni?
Practice.
Okay.
Practice. My junior high practice jersey. I'm wearing it today because Troy Campbell has been hired as the head basketball coach for the boys high school basketball team at Valonia, Arkansas.
Okay. Troy Camp. Congrats, baby.
Troy Campbell.
He went
from Central High School to Valonia High School.
There
How about
it is.
that? Isn't that crazy?
Let's go.
Their business
doesn't help you run your business.
It helps you run your business.
That's right.
Okay, so we're getting into some FCS talk over the next couple of days. One of the conversations we're going to get into, you know what's going to happen for the folks that are listening at home and listen every day. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to get to a point in time this summer where it's just going to be nothing but endless Mount Rushmores.
Love it.
Favorite restaurant, Mount Rushmore. Like, we're going to be, because, there comes the Mount Rushmore season where nothing is going on. It's either that or talk about MLB baseball. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't give a rat's A word about professional sports most of the time. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. Rock and roll.
There are other animals that I would give their A words, but if given the opportunity to give a rat's A word about something, I would not give it.
You would not give it. You say, I'm keeping that.
I say that is my rat's A word, and
I'm not sharing it.
Give it to no one. Zero of you people can have that rat's A word. But along with what we got going on, we're going to hit some hot topics over the next couple weeks and discuss those, including one of those being, if there was realignment, where would Baylor go and what would that look like?
I like it.
On top of that, we've got questions, comments, concerns on Baylor football that are still churning.
Sure.
And one of the things we mentioned earlier today, Baylor football going into next season, wins, losses, totals, things like that. And one of the conversations we're going to cover over the next 2 days. It kind of revolves around the FCS.
Yeah.
And where the FCS is in playing their spring ball. And so that's a conversation we'll hit a little bit today and then really cover most of tomorrow. And and most of that revolves around recruiting. There's a lot that goes into recruiting, transfer portal, when the guys can play, how they train, having football year-round. There's a lot that goes into the conversation. You played FCS football for 4 seasons at Cornell, so you've got obviously very good perspective and opinion on this. What's kind of your opening argument?
I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate that. Was a pretty sweet intro. I mean, it was a great 4 seasons. I mean, as a whole, though, the biggest issue that I think we'll run into and why it won't stay in the spring is strictly from a financial perspective. Like, as a fan, it'd be awesome to have more games in the spring. It'd be awesome to be able to have football year-round. But a lot of these schools, and I think Brian Bill came on and said it when we had an interview with him a week ago, it's just not financially practical to have them in the spring because a lot of them get their money for their entire athletic budget from some of these games that they play against bigger schools like Sam Houston State and A&M, like Texas Southern's going to come play Baylor. Like, all those things, I think, make it really difficult for an FCS school to be in the spring strictly. Now, if it was a system we could work out to where maybe they got a big TV deal to cover that cost, I'd be all for it. The other part that I don't love is that it's going to cause these guys that are at the FCS level that's going to go in the NFL, they're going to miss their senior season because you don't want to play a spring season and then go right to the NFL draft. They won't test well. Their body will still be beat up. It doesn't make sense for them to go from the spring into the fall and play back-to-back seasons in a matter of a year. So that I think will be the 2 things that keep it from happening. But as a fan, I'd love to see a big TV deal and keep these teams in the spring. That'd be awesome.
What's the deal with spring football being so horrendous? Like, why the XFL? Why Canadian football to an extent?
I'm not sure when they play.
Arena football. Why don't they work out? Why don't people like watching football in the fall?
That's a really good question. I think some of it's probably just the competition level. Like, there's a lot of what we love about college football is the fact that there is so much allegiance there. Like, that's your team and you associate it with a certain kind of game day. Like, there is so much pageantry and mystique that goes into football season, right? Like, there's the song, Boys of Fall. It's not Boys of Spring. You know, I think that's probably part of it. Like, we're probably a little bit stuck in our ways.
You're getting really close to being copyrighted right there.
Saying Boys of Fall.
Saying Boys of Fall.
All right, Boys of Fall, Boys of Fall, Boys of Fall.
Dang.
That's hard to say 3 times fast.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big part of it is just like American football is in the fall. Anything outside of it, it's going to take some time to catch on. So, I mean, we can start. I mean, you got to start it at some point if you want it to catch on. So I don't think it will work. I don't think there's an audience for it. And also the competition level isn't the same. You know, like, nobody wants to watch arena football unless you're an absolute junkie, which there's a niche market for that, but not that big.
Do you think the FCS would be the same? Do you think folks would just not be interested in FCS football? Because there seems to be a lot more traction now. When the FCS plays in the fall, they are obviously so overshadowed by what the FBS is doing. Would you say that if the FCS moves this spring, they then garner more attention for the sport, and that would thus generate more revenue?
I think they could. The problem that I have right now with the model they have set up with the exposure for the FCS is none of these games are really on TV. They have to be ESPN Plus, or you have to have a certain package to be able to watch them. If they were more accessible, I would for sure spend my Saturday watching FCS football. Now, do a lot of people share that sentiment? I probably would side with no, but as a whole, I think there is definitely an audience for it, but it's so unorthodox and so hard to watch that I think it's just going to be something that doesn't really catch on for a while. And I think if they could get a big TV deal, like I said, financially it could be possible, but I don't really see that happening in the near future.
Hopefully so. On top of that, some other things quick hitters we're going into before we get into Take 3 today. Tim Tebow. I know it's not college news, but Tim Tebow played in college, and Urban Meyer was a college coach. That's like roundabout way. We can find a way to correlate that.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Tim Tebow situation, man?
I like it. So I'm a pretty biased Tebow guy. I like that move a lot, but here's why I think we need to talk about this. People are getting upset about Tim Tebow and saying he took a job from a lot of other guys that deserve to play quarterback, which I understand the argument. I understand people are saying, okay, he isn't, an NFL quarterback, and Urban Meyer is agreeing with you. He's saying you're right. He's not taking an NFL quarterback's job. They brought him in to play tight end. Now, will he be strictly tight end? I don't know. That's what he's listed as. Probably a utility player in a lot of ways. I think at the end of the day, he's a really good athlete, and he has a great relationship with Urban Meyer. So Pat McAfee sits up on his show. He's like, Tim Tebow probably earned Urban Meyer millions of dollars at Florida. So in a lot of ways, Urban Meyer is doing a solid to Tim Tebow and saying, hey, come on, be whatever you're going to be in the NFL here, and we'll find a way to utilize you. I don't know how much of that argument is fair to say he's taking a job from another NFL quarterback. I don't really buy into that.
Not from a quarterback. I mean,
Right.
but the move to the tight end position in general. What do you think? What do you make of Tim Tebow saying, hey, I want to play NFL football, but now I want to do it as a tight end?
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. I hope it works because I love Tebow, and I hope that he has a lot of success in the NFL. I don't know that tight end will be where we see him line up a ton, maybe like in the H-back position, taking handoffs. I could see him being a really good blocker. Like, guy's still 6'3", 240 pounds and can move. So, like, 4'6", 40 at a guy that size, you can find a way to utilize that on the football field, whether he's covering kicks, whether he's the personal protector for the punt. I mean, there's a lot of things that he can do on a football field. Now, quarterback isn't really one of them at the NFL level, but I do think there's a place for him with the right scheme and the right coaching staff. And who better to utilize his talents than Urban Meyer? What are your thoughts there?
Laverne Spicer. Here are my thoughts. I thought this was crazy yesterday on Twitter. Laverne Spicer. And we don't get into the politics of sports because that exists, but I thought this was one of the funnier tweets that I've seen in my life. She's not a very big sports fan.
Okay.
I don't think she's a very big sports fan. She is a Republican candidate for Florida's District 24 for Congress.
Okay.
And says, she tweets yesterday, this went so viral because it's just, this says, Tim Tebow is getting signed because he knows how to throw a football. Colin Kaepernick isn't getting signed because he doesn't. And is anybody going to tell her that Tim Tebow is literally not getting signed to throw a football?
Yeah, that's bad. There's a lot of bad things about that.
There's a lot of bad looks from Laverne Spicer in that tweet yesterday.
Bad deal.
Tim Tebow is getting signed because he knows how to throw a football, which is completely
not
irrelevant to why he's being
necessarily.
he's being signed as a tight end to the Jaguars.
Yeah, I don't like that conversation of the Kaepernick versus Tebow things. I
I
think
don't
they're just so separate. Like, they're just so very different.
Yeah, why do they have to be mutual? Why do they have to be mutually inclusive? Anytime one of them is brought up in conversations, like they bring up, they're not the inverse of one another.
No, completely different things. I don't think that's a really great comparison by her.
No.
Kind of walked into that one.
But the fact that she said
their own issues.
Tim Tebow is getting signed because he knows how to throw a football. And all the comments are like, tell me you know nothing about football without telling me you know nothing about football.
It's a bad deal.
That's
on her. She brought that on herself.
Laverne Spicer did bring. I'm sure. I hope she's not listening to the show today because that was really something. But
I hope she is. She can learn a thing or two.
Maybe she can about sports. She's just not a very big sports fan. But a lot going on yesterday. Wow, I had the honor of being ranked as one of the Twitter accounts to follow.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I saw that actually.
I
saw that by
a lot to take in.
Boomer something.
That
was kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's hype.
Wow,
it was like across all the schools, wasn't it?
Feels like an honor. I thought I'd get a blue check from that.
Big get.
No blue check.
Not yet.
Not a single blue check.
Not yet. Though.
Maybe one of these days. Maybe
it's coming.
Maybe Colt Barber will call and say, "Hey, get these guys a blue check, both of them."
I think Craig Smoak, the only
Craig's
one
got a blue check.
Only one on the staff to have a blue check.
Craig's got a blue check. LSU women's basketball posted today. Keep an eye out for everybody's Hall of Famer in the Baton Rouge area. So there's a new billboard with Kim Mulkey on it. It says everybody's Hall of Famer.
She's not everybody. She is not anybody's Hall of Famer.
Everybody's Hall of Famer?
If she's going to be somebody's Hall of Famer, she's a Waco Hall of Famer. She's Waco's Hall of Famer. If we want to start claiming who's a Hall of Famer.
She's a Baylor Hall of Famer. She's going to be a Hall of Famer because of Baylor. Everybody's Hall of Famer?
She's going to be inducted to the Basketball Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
everybody's Hall of Famer?
I don't know.
I guess she's a Hall of Famer.
Is she your Hall of Famer?
I guess.
Not anymore?
I wouldn't necessarily say she's my Hall of Famer.
Right. She's the Naismith's Hall of Famer.
She's not
Which
everybody's
makes
Hall of
sense,
Famer.
I suppose.
I guess.
It's all
hey,
strange.
we're playing Take 3 today.
Boom.
Cue the music.
Bring it. Take 3. 3 of these are true. 3 of these are false. Only you can decide. It's going to be a little rough, going to be a little rowdy. Buckle up. This is Take 3. First one up. The most overtimes played in a college football game is 9 between Oregon and Arizona in 2001. Oregon won the contest 81-75.
True or false? I'm going to go with true. You know what?
Texas A&M and LSU tie or come one short? I know they got to 7.
Give me...
So 9, I think, is false.
Give me false.
Rolling both of us false. Marquise, what are you thinking? I know you don't have a mic. You going false?
He says false.
We got 3 falses. Jameis Winston is the youngest player ever to win the Heisman Trophy. I promise these are not all college football related, but right off the bat, we got some college football
What would
questions.
be wrong with that? But also, I'm going to go false.
We got false.
True.
True.
He's got false.
We got false from my boy, Marquise.
Slinging Sammy
Booley.
Ball.
I love it.
Slinging Sammy Ball.
Slinging Sammy Ball. Drew Brees holds the record for most pass attempts in a college football game with 83 in a win over Wisconsin in 1988.
False.
I'm going to go true. I think he holds the record. It might not be 83, but
Okay.
I've already used 2 falses.
Okay. Marquise going true?
Yeah, he's going
Marquise
true.
goes true. All right, here we go. John Wooden originally wanted to be the head coach at Minnesota, but he missed their phone call due to a snowstorm and took the UCLA job before they had a chance to call him back.
Y'all answer first because I've read his book.
True.
Okay. That a true?
Marquise says false.
Marquise says
but
false.
It's absolutely true.
It's absolutely true. Michael Jordan.
Cue the music.
Drake needs the music. When Michael Jordan wanted to go pro after his sophomore year at Carolina, but his head coach at the time did not want to see him go to Portland. So he stayed an extra year at Carolina and went pro after that.
False.
False.
Marquise says true.
Marquise says true. True. Marshall McDougal set a record last week with 6 stolen bases at Florida State. He broke Deion Sanders' record of 5 that stood for over 30 years. True or false?
I have to go false.
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 No, I got to go true.
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 Marquise is going with a 4th false.
Marquise,
Bold move.
okay.
Wow.
It's tricky. So that's part of the game. We didn't explain that very well. You get 3 trues and 3 falses.
Okay, I put enough for true on that.
All right, I love it. Marquise. And here we go. I'm going to try my best to keep track of these scores. Can't promise they're accurate, but I'm going to do my best. All right, so the first one, Oregon playing 9 overtimes. Made that up.
You know why?
Made that up.
It was Arkansas and Kentucky. Arkansas won the game in Lexington 7 overtimes. Then it was Arkansas and Ole Miss.
And then Texas
7
A&M
overtimes.
LSU.
Then Texas A&M
I love it.
LSU.
Arkansas.
I knew 7 was at
SEC,
Right,
all
and some
3
barn
SEC
burners.
matchups.
There we go. Who got that right?
both of us.
All right, everybody got that right. I love it. Jameis Winston is the youngest player to ever win the Heisman.
2 for 2.
19 years.
Really?
342 days.
That's wild.
Dang.
Drew Brees holds the record for most pass attempts in a college football game. 83.
It was?
It's 83.
But it wasn't in 1988.
It was, in fact, in 1988.
Drew Brees didn't play
He
college
didn't play
football
in
in
88.
88.
98.
Oh, maybe I wrote that down wrong.
Oh, no.
I apologize.
There are 4 falses.
I apologize.
Because that is false.
Yeah. Okay.
1988.
I'm going with what he meant. I'm going with the intent,
Oh, okay.
not the letter.
We'll both get a point then. That's fine.
Are we sure he didn't play in 88?
It's Drew
Yes,
Brees.
it's
He
Drew
retired
Brees.
last year.
Oh, then, hey, that's a misprint on my part.
It's like
That's a
30
misprint.
years in the NFL.
That's a misprint on Dad's part. That's on me.
On Dad's part.
John Wooden originally wanted the Minnesota job.
Absolutely true.
100% true.
Absolutely true.
Michael Jordan wanted to go pro after his sophomore year. Actually, he wanted to stay for his senior year. He wanted. I think you said true on that.
I said false.
Oh, did you? Oh, you're balling. Okay, Marshall McDougal set a record last week for 6 home runs.
He did.
From Florida State.
So that's false?
Isn't that wild? That was false.
Dang it. I got 5.
I got 4.
You got 5. You got 4.
And Marquise got 2.
Oh,
Big dog.
better luck next time,
There we go. There we go.
Marquise.
This has been take 3.
Tell you what, Marquise, you got a tennis ball right there, just for playing.
Ooh.
Just for
There we
playing.
go. There we go.
I'm Drake Toll, it's J.D. PicKell. We got Jack McKenzie and Marquise Cooley in studio today. When we come back from this commercial break, Crash Davis joins the show. That's right, the Crash Davis joins this show. Don't go anywhere. This right here, all of it, all 4 of us and the rest of the world is Up Tempo.
Happy Jersey Day, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Collin coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's 2nd team. Gilbert led the team in batting average and hot reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, "You know, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters." And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
And welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, Thursday, everybody. May 13th, rolling around on a big weekend of baseball on the cusp. Baylor baseball traveling to Oklahoma State this weekend, trying to keep the Big 12 Conference win streak alive. 4 straight series that have come home with the Bears. They were projected to win just 2 this year, and now 4 straight. Joining the show with us today, the man himself. We got Mark Reeser. Mark, how much anonymity do you carry with that silly little forum name that you wear so proudly?
I mean, it's if you do a little digging, it's not hard to figure it out. So I go to all the tailgates. I've met, numerous people from the board. So I'm not quite as anonymous as some others are, but there's a lot of guys on the board like that post all the time, and people figure out who they are, and so yeah, not too much. Not complete anonymity, but it is still there a little bit. Not everybody knows. I mean, do we unveil? Do we take off the mask right here, right now on Up Tempo? I mean, that's fine. Whatever y'all want to do.
Wow. You know what? I like the anonymity. We'll save it to the very end, though. We'll save it to the end so we can keep people guessing. That works. But I'll tell you, for those out there, Mark is far and away what I'd say probably the most consistent person out there on the forum when it comes to Baylor baseball, and somebody that follows Baylor baseball very, very closely. So I got a lot of things that I wanted to get your take on when it comes to this team and this season, Mark, because I'll tell you, from my perspective, I didn't see this coming. I didn't think Baylor baseball would be able to hold anybody's jockstrap in the Big 12, much less their own, and be able to be where they are right now at 500, vying for a top 3 spot in the conference. This kind of came out of left field, if you will, for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because I thought we were going to have a really good team. I mean, I thought us being rated 8th in the conference in the preseason poll, I thought that was kind of a joke. I thought we had a lot of talent coming back, but here's the deal. We kind of thought our weekend rotation was going to, Evan Godwin, Will Rigney, and then Tyler Thomas, as your like Sunday guy. And so, the season starts and there's no Godney. Rigney's gotten into a couple games, but he's been dealing with issues. So after that, then you did do some reassessing and go, well, yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to be really good, but, we just lost 2/3 of our rotation. So it's been really impressive what these pitchers have done. Tyler Thomas stepping up into the Friday night role. I mean, Ty Madden's going to win Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, but Tyler Thomas deserves consideration for sure. And then you didn't know what Hayden Kettler was going to be like coming back from injury. And he's better than ever. And then the younger arms have kind of come in, Cam Cayley, Blake Helton, and they've just gotten better. So I did think we were going to be good. And then I had question marks after, we kind of figured out our rotation wasn't going to be exactly who we thought it was. And then once those guys started proving themselves, I said, hey, yeah, we should be good. We've got good players.
Mark, I've asked a couple of analysts this question so far, talking about the UTRGV series that a lot of people point to, talking about that Blue Bell Classic that Baylor went 1-2 at with a sole win against Auburn. Starting a season like that, where were your reservations for this team? I mean, were you ready to kind of pack out the bags and move forward?
No, and this happens all the time in college baseball. I mean, for people who don't follow it closely, and look, I'm not saying losing a series to RGV is a good thing. It's not a good thing. But baseball's just a little bit different. It's not like losing in football to Liberty, where you say, oh my gosh, this could mean something really bad for the rest of the season. It's one of those things that happened. It was right after the ice storm. I didn't put too much stock in that. That didn't make me hit the panic button. What I was hitting the panic button about was, but 2 weeks ago, Rod was talking up Evan Godwin is going to be his Friday night guy. And, then it comes time for the series and it's like, Blake Helton starting and then Tyler Thomas. And I can't remember who else started that first weekend, but that was my concern was, oh man, is Evan Godwin coming back? That kind of thing. But the actual result didn't really faze me.
Mark, along with that, another series or a group of games that I really point to on top of that, it seemed like you go through that lull to start the season against UTRGV and at the Bluebell. You go through the same lull, but in conference play to open things up against TCU and Texas. You get that one win on Sunday, but you start 1-5 in Big 12 play. You're projected 8th in the conference, and you're showing pretty much at that point, hey, we might just end up right there. The turning point, right there, I guess I should say, your reservations for Baylor opening Big 12 play when they started 1-5.
Yeah, that's so tough. Rod's got a saying, great teams sweep and don't get swept. It's so crucial not to get swept. And it was really disappointing because the first 4 of those 6, the 3 games against UT, we really had a chance to win all of them. We easily could have won 2 out of 3 that weekend or even swept. And then, so you're disappointed that you only won 1 out of 3, but you feel pretty good about how you played overall. And then you go to TCU, and Friday night, you got a tight game down in Fort Worth, and it doesn't go your way. So at that point, you got your 4 games in. You've had 3 tight games, 3 50-50 games. None of them went your way, but you're feeling pretty good about how you're playing. And then the Saturday and Sunday game, TCU just came out and outclassed us. And that was really disheartening. And that was concerning just from a psyche standpoint because you can go either way after that. And you're wondering, okay, well, how's this team going to respond to that? Because that's a real gut punch to get embarrassed like that. These guys have a lot of pride. And, we talk about the youth on this team, but we got a lot of vets too. And for them to go up there to Fort Worth and, Saturday and Sunday just get trounced like that, I was a little bit concerned about how we're going to bounce back. But I think we beat Texas State in the midweek after that. And then I think we played Memphis maybe in a 4-game series, swept them, and then we've been just kind of off to the races since then.
Mark, along with it, the excitement around this Baylor baseball program, obviously this isn't comparable to the 2012 year that was just nuts. All eyes were on baseball that season. And in 2018, you had that stretch, especially there toward the Big 12 tournament where folks were starting to really hone in on Baylor baseball. But it feels like a lot of people have kind of turned their eyes to this team and thought, okay, hey, maybe they got something here, not just entertaining, but the ability to win and make a possible run. The excitement around this baseball team this season, is it different than what you've seen maybe anywhere else in the past decade or so outside of 2012?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. 2018 kind of had a similar feel. It's a blessing and a curse for a Baylor baseball fan or for an all sports Baylor fan like myself, because, we've got 2 elite top class basketball programs, and baseball is not going to get a lot of attention until after basketball season because we're going to Final Fours.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where, you kind of wait until April and you wait until May. And luckily we've had a couple seasons recently, this season, 2018, like you mentioned, where we were able to really turn it on during those months and get hot. And I do think people are starting to pay attention and follow, and all the games now, all the home games are on ESPN Plus, which I think, that hasn't been the case in the past, where people are like, well, I'm not going to follow this team listening on the radio or, streaming it on some stream on my computer. So accessibility there, out-of-towners, being able to watch the game, get a feel for the players. Yeah, I think there is a lot of excitement, and I think your 2018 comparison is a really good one.
Mark, it feels like to me that Steve Smith set a precedent of winning at Baylor in that 25 to 2012 stretch, 2005 to 2012 stretch, where it was just automatic that you knew Baylor's pretty much going to be in the postseason every year, either hosting a regional or going to a regional. And the pressure was just on, especially there in those last couple of seasons for him dating up to 2015. Then you get Steve Rodriguez, who comes in, takes over a program and a fan base that wants to win and expects to win. And he's now built it into a team this season that's got a shot at maybe not hosting, but being a 2 seed at one of the lower seeded regionals. What does this say about Steve Rodriguez and his ability to turn Baylor baseball back into I don't want to say powerhouse, but back into an actual contender?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did kind of, there was an official Waco Trib or whatever all-decade team for the 2010s. And they also did one on SicEm365. And looking at that team really told the story of the program, because you had a lot of guys, your Max Muncies, your Logan Vicks, your Josh Turley, Logan Verrett from the, early part of the decade. And then you had your Davis Wenzel, your Shea Langoliers, your Troy Montemayor, all these guys from the latter part of the decade. And then there wasn't a whole lot in the middle. So, there was a talent problem towards the end of the Smith era. And although it is worth mentioning, some of those guys, in Smith's last recruiting classes were really pivotal. Guys like Richard Cunningham, Montemayor, actually, I believe, was a Smith recruit also. So they really helped. But, yeah, that kind of range, the last few years of the Smith era, there weren't a lot of guys on that all-decade team. So Rod's really come in here. You look at a team like 2019, that team healthy, and it's a real shame it wasn't healthy, because that team was a legitimate national title contender with Cody Bradford healthy, with Hayden Kettler had he not gotten hurt. And then you've got 3 guys that ended up being first rounders with Shea Langoliers, Nick Lofton, and Davis Wenzel. I mean, that's rare. So Rod's definitely come in and improved the talent level. There's no question about that.
Let me ask you this, Mark. When it comes to Coach Steve Rodriguez, one of the things that I've seen out of most of his recruiting classes is more quantity over quality. So while there won't be this star-studded cast of 6 guys that are 4 or 5-star prospects, huge coming out of high school, you may get 11 or 12 guys coming in a class, a couple of them sprinkled here or there that you consider elite, but most of them guys where they're going to have to develop. Would you say he's more of a developer or more of a recruiter when it comes to his tenure at what he's done at Baylor?
A little bit of both, because we've had guys that have had to kind of wait their turn. And, Jimmy Winston didn't pitch a lot early in his career, and he's obviously been a big contributor these last couple of years. Or, some of these other guys that have come in and just kind of, waited their turn. But we've also had guys that were, stepped in and they were ready to play immediately. Davis Wenzel is a guy who came in, and Rod started him almost immediately. And I wasn't so sure. He was struggling, and I was like, why is this guy playing? Like, can he even play? And then about halfway through his freshman year, he starts turning it on a little bit, and you go, oh my gosh, yeah, this guy's really good. And a couple years later, he's Big 12 Player of the Year. So but he wasn't a big-time recruit, so it's a little bit of both. We have had some more high-profile guys. I think Nick Lofton was pretty highly recruited. But, yeah, I think that we are a program that gets guys in, and guys wait their turn, or some guys that are even forced to play early, but they get better. And by the time they're upperclassmen, they're ready to go, and they're as good as anyone.
Mark, moving forward on this season, baseball is such a volatile sport. Look at Coastal Carolina knocking off Arizona for a College World Series championship. I would take this Baylor baseball team over that Coastal Carolina team. I mean, the sky's the limit for almost anybody who's a contender right now. With this group, though, what is a realistic expectation moving into the postseason? Because I know Baylor fans have a tendency to get really excited really fast when teams start winning.
Yeah, no doubt about that. 2018 team, like we talked about earlier, is a team that you just felt so good about going into postseason, and the margins are so slim at regionals. I think we lost our opening game at the Stanford Regional in 2018. I think we ended up losing 2-1, but we had chance for a double play, and a freshman, Nick Lofton, I think had an errant throw, and we make this mistake early in the game, and that was enough. We didn't play bad. So the margins are really slim, and you just got to do the little things. But it's time to make some noise in postseason for Baylor baseball. There's no question. I think we're 2-6 in regionals under Coach Rodriguez. I know that they don't think that's good enough. None of the fans think that's good enough. Because you look at winning a regional and you say, okay, well, yeah, that's great. But I don't look at it as you just win a regional or you don't. There's different levels of competitiveness within that. And we haven't really come close to winning a regional under Rodriguez, and that's bothered me a lot. We went 0-2 the first year, and then we went 1-2 in 2018 and 1-2 in 2019, and so we're not even getting to haven't been getting to the championship game. Yeah. And I think it bothers these guys because they know that they're good enough. They were good enough those years, and it's just about how you play that weekend. So we're capable of competing for a regional, getting to a regional championship, winning a regional, absolutely. And I think this team with vets like Andy Thomas and Hayden Kettler, Ryan Lekich, Davion Downey, guys who have been around the block and had that regional experience, they don't want to just get there. They don't want to just get there. They're there to compete. They want to win that thing. They want to get to supers.
Mark, the team's got a shot, without a doubt, especially as well as they're playing in what I would call the second or third best conference in baseball this season. The Big 12 has really shown a lot, especially with the prowess of Texas and TCU, Texas Tech as well. Baylor adding its name to that. Last question for you here, our Bear Games question of the day. Mark, we've covered all the bases, pun intended. Monday, we talked about your most demoralizing team defeat. Tuesday was your largest team win that you've been a part of. Wednesday, we discussed your greatest personal feat in a ball game. Mark, as a player, whether it be Little League, high school, college, the pros, today's question, what is the worst individual performance you've put together?
Ooh. I'm going to take it a little bit different direction. I'm going to go the most embarrassing. And it was actually in a practice. Because I can't think of any games that I probably blocked them all out, all my really bad games. But high school football, my sophomore year, and I was one of the backup quarterbacks. I don't know, third string, fourth string. I did not get a lot of reps. So I was getting some reps, and we were set up in the end zone, actually. Like 5 yards deep was where we were snapping it, just because that's where the drill was set up. And I took a snap, and we ran a little boot action, and the head coach is watching also, which was rare because he's usually not watching the third or fourth string quarterback take a rep. And we do a little boot action, and I fake a handoff, and then I roll out to my right, and it's just a little simple concept with, one tight end running shallow and one running a little deeper. I make the throw, and then I just get cold cocked. And I'm thinking, what was that? There's no defense, because we're just running with the off. I ran into the goalpost. Oh. And I stayed down on the ground, not because I was hurt. It knocked me down flat, and I stayed down on the ground, not because I was hurt. I was just embarrassed. All my teammates were laughing at me, and you made a bad impression on the coach because the quarterback's supposed to have awareness about where everything is on the field. And it was an unusual situation because you're usually not snapping a ball 5 yards deep in an end zone, but no excuses for just totally not seeing the goalpost and just running straight into it. So that was really embarrassing.
Wow. Mark, you've just landed yourself on our top 5 for tomorrow's show. That was a top 5 moment of this week, without a doubt. That is spectacular. Mark Reeser, thanks so much for joining the show today and giving us perspective on this Baylor baseball team. Great getting Crash Davis's opinion, not in the flesh necessarily, but with a face to the name.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Let's do it again soon. Again, that was Mark Reeser talking Baylor baseball. He's Crash Davis on the forum. When we come back, we're joined on the show by Deshaun Jones of Baylor Track. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Happy Jersey, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Collin coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's second team. Gilbert led the team in batting average, and Hott reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us. at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with the kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, Thursday, everybody. Getting ready for a big weekend in Baylor athletics. It includes softball. We got baseball. We got tennis on tap, men's tennis in the Big 12 Championship, and we got track in the Big 12 Championship this weekend as well. Joining the show now, Deshaun, my man, with the drip too. I mean, look, too hard. Way too hard.
Thank you.
Look, we got a picture that we'll show right here really quick, Deshaun, of you getting onto the team bus. This was just yesterday for the trip to the Big 12 Championship. You've got the turtleneck, the chain, the backpack, the hat. Walk me through it.
Well, prior to conference, we didn't know if we were flying. And I had the idea in my head, like, if we're flying, I'm going to put on, like, a nice little outfit. So then they finally confirmed that we were flying, and I was like, man, I got to put, like, I gotta show off. And when I looked in my closet, and I was like, dang, okay. So, and when I put it on, I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be the outfit. And then, like, since COVID has happened, I haven't, you know, you don't really get the opportunity to go out places or, like, walk around without a mask or anything like that. So it's really like no point of dressing up, but I had to take advantage of the opportunity. Had to.
Well, advantage you sure took. And we got a picture here. I think Deshaun took a page out of my book. This is a picture from January at a semi-formal. I got the turtleneck, the chain, the coat, no hat though. Deshaun, I will tell you, the hat really brought it all together.
You think so?
I know so. I love it. Well, Deshaun, looking into going into the Big 12 championships for you, man, I'm looking right here. A mid-year enrollee from Barton Community College. Yeah. Your third meet for Baylor track, you won a Big 12 championship. Take me through kind of the whirlwind you've experienced in the last couple months.
It hasn't been easy to say the least, but I'm natural born competitor at heart. And when it comes to like something that I'm passionate about, Westerler will be track, and something that I want to take track. I want track to use to take to the next level and hopefully turn it to a career, God willing. And when I first got here, I missed the first 2 meets. And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I already had like the goal. One of my goals were to like come in and win Big 12s. But that was before I knew that I wasn't going to be able to come in like on time. So when I came in, started competing, my first meet, kind of like tweaked my hip flexor, and I ran like the slowest time that I've ever ran since I've been in college. Mind you, it's my 3rd year in college.
Yeah.
So it kind of like got me down, and I was just like, man, maybe indoor is not going to be it. Maybe it's not going to be this year. So I was like, okay. I kind of came to terms with that, but I just didn't let it like. I kept working, I kept competing, kept pushing. And our trainer, brother Kevin, we kind of had a heart-to-heart, and it's like when you're transferring in, it's kind of hard to like just openly trust people because you're new and you don't really know who these people are. So I really had to take a leap of faith kind of fast, being able to trust my coaches, trust the training, and then trust the athletic trainers as well. They helped me get healthy and get to the point where I needed to be. And I trusted Bro K, trusted Coach Ben. And when Big 12s rolled around, they were just like, whatever you got is whatever's going to show on the track. So I kind of took that and I prayed before my race. And like, I was nervous before the race, of course. Like, I was like, man, I don't want to go out here and lay an egg. I was like, that's not what I want to do. That's not who I am as like a competitor. And I kind of prayed before I raced. And like, once I prayed and I finished my prayer, I felt a sense of relief. And I just like, was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go. And at the end of the race, I don't know if you've seen it, but at the end of the race, it was a lot of emotion because it was like, a lot of people don't know, but I wasn't, like, Baylor was not the school I was supposed to be at. I initially committed to Texas Tech to go run track, and things didn't work out. And the fall semester, I was at home. Like, I wasn't enrolled in school. I wasn't doing anything. I was actually working at Amazon at Foot Locker at the time. And so I wasn't enrolled in school, thought track was done. I didn't think anybody was going to give me an opportunity because a lot of schools didn't have money. And I almost emailed like every big Power 5, every mid-major Division I school there is in the nation. And like almost, if I emailed 50 schools, 45 of the schools didn't have money. And I would have had to wait till the complete next school year. And like, I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I don't think I can do that. And one day, Coach Ben texted me and was like, hey, send me your transcripts and everything. And I was just like, no way. So I sent him transcripts and everything, and here I am.
Wow. Well, Deshaun, I mean, obviously you've made your mark on Baylor track already, and I want to know, moving in, you talked about your journey from Barton Community College to eventually Baylor now to run track. You know, we talked to a bunch of JUCO football players that mention how the adjustment when you go from community college to the Division I level and trying to perform on that stage. And while track is a little bit more individual in what you do in your specific event, how has it changed? How does it look different from now Barton to Baylor?
When I was at Barton, the competition is not really much raised because at Barton we competed at the Division I meet. So like we competed against Tech, Kentucky, the fast schools. So we competed against Division I athletes. But my biggest adjustment transferring from JUCO to a Division I Power 5 is the attention and how they treat you. At a JUCO, you're not going to have the resources. You're not going to have the best athletic training, the best facilities. Like the JUCO Barton is in Kansas where we at currently, and it could be 30 degrees outside, snow, and we have to go outside and shovel lane 1 to practice because we don't have an indoor facility. And you're outside in a jacket, hoodie, gloves, ski mask, if you're that cold, like earmuffs, everything, and you're still out there training. And I think coming from a JUCO standpoint and during all the trials and tribulations, it's not easy going to JUCO. And it's not easy, like, trying to make it through those 2 years because, like, it's like I said, it's tough. It's hard. But I think going D1, it just made me appreciate the journey and everything that I went through a little bit more leading up into this point.
Deshaun.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, keep going. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's just like, it was all for a greater purpose, in a sense.
Deshaun, with that, you know, you're able to move to Baylor. You talk about the greater purpose. You know, a lot of people talk about faith and their journey, what faith plays, the role faith plays in their journey. And you coming to Baylor, talk about praying before, after you race. I mean, how big of a role has faith played for you, and even now being at a faith-based university?
It's played a big role. Like I said, my fall semester, I wasn't enrolled in school. I wasn't competing. And sitting at home, watching everybody train during the fall, watching everybody compete, everybody at their respective schools having fun. And like the people that I graduated JUCO with were at like Power 5, D1 schools, and I'm at home. And it kind of takes a toll on you mentally because it's like, man, I could be there. And it's like, and it's not even, it had nothing to do with talent. It had nothing to do with skill. It was just a lot of things like didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And that takes a toll on you when mentally and emotionally. And I got to a point where a lot of things, like I was down. I didn't want to do a lot of things. I was losing hope. And I just had to really sit down and talk to God. And that's when when I really fell on my faith the most at that point in time. And it led me here. And now I got, like you said, I came here, I got one Big 12 championship under my belt within a month. And I can't even say that it was me. It was literally my faith in God.
Deshaun, with that, you move from 11th in your first meet, 5th in your second meet, Big 12 champion in your third indoor meet at Baylor. You move into the outdoor season. How do you carry the momentum of an individual Big 12 championship into the outdoor season?
You gotta stay grounded, because you're gonna, when I won, you're gonna always have those people that never really support you at all times, whether you're high, you're low, in the middle, you're anything. You're never gonna have those people constantly support you. And there's people that always come out of the woodworks that want to tell you how good you are, how they always knew you could do it, how just they always those people that they see you win and then they just, oh yeah, I knew you could do that. I'm so proud of you. And I was starting to feel good, but I had to realize that, yeah, I won, but the job is not done. And I had to kind of self-reflect, look at myself yeah, live in the moment, have fun, enjoy it. But you got to also remember that you got to keep working, because there's always somebody else that wants to take your spot or they want to beat you. And now that I won indoor, I'm racing the same guys this weekend that raced in the indoor race. And I know for a fact that they're not going to just be okay, he won indoor, yeah, he's going to win again. No, they're going to go out there and compete. So it's just always have your foot on the gas, stay level, stay grounded, stay humble. And one of the things that I like to say is I'm humble enough to know that I'm not better than anybody, but I'm smart enough to know that I'm different. And with that, I mean, I would never say that the person next to me is slow. I'd never say the person next to me I'm better than them. But I know that when I line up, I'm going to give you my best. And I'm not going out there. You could be Grant Holloway, the fastest hurler in the world right now, and I'm still going to line up to you and compete like I'm going to go out there and beat you, regardless of how fast you are. And I think that's what carries me through a lot of the meets and a lot of higher competition meets.
Bulletin board material, Deshaun. I mean, second, so far you've placed second in the outdoor. You're currently projected at 5th in the Big 12, going into the Big 12 championships. How? I mean, you've got what I would say there are a lot of folks, they're going to peg their racehorse to win this race. It wouldn't be you. Is that something you use to drive you?
I wouldn't say that. I know what I could do. And I my indoor, like you said, first meet ran slow. Second meet didn't do too hot. And I pride myself on being ready when it matters. And not to say that your regular season meets don't matter, because every time you line up on the track, it matters. You're supposed to go out there and compete like it's your last time. But I pride myself on when it's time to compete and go, I'm going to be ready. And this weekend, God willing, if I come out with a dub, then I came out with a dub. But I know that I'm going to go out here and compete to the best of my ability. And looking at all the other meets, we really didn't have too much of great weather either. My first outdoor meet, coming off an injury, it was kind of cold. Second outdoor meet at LSU, that was a great meet, just didn't perform well. And then the Michael Johnson meet before that, it was really cold, rainy. So I think this weekend is the weekend. If that was a perfect time to run fast and go out there and compete, it would be this weekend.
Deshaun, with it, for you, I love talking to the 4th year, 5th year seniors that have been in programs for years and have bought into the family mindset and really understand the culture from an experience standpoint. For you, though, now just being a couple months into Baylor, I think it's an even better perspective on how you've been able to really indoctrinate yourself into the Baylor family and what it means to run for Baylor, compete for Baylor track. For you, how tight-knit is this team? What kind of fraternity is this group of athletes?
Man, I saw how close and how much love that was when I won indoor. Mind you, I was only here for a month. They, like, the guys that are on the team, they've been here from the fall or they've been here for years. And, like, me just coming in, I'm new. You know, you don't typically, like, you're not really close to new people. And coming off the track, there's my two teammates, Camden Jackson and Dylan Bedell. Those two, like, to see how excited they were for me, being that I just got there, and seeing how excited Coach Ford was and Coach Finn, that right there kind of like told me, like, yeah, this is the place where I need to be. And another thing is that I really love about this program, if you go to any other Power 5 school, I can almost guarantee you, you're going to have the best of your best athletes, and then you're going to have your walk-ons, and then you're going to have your athletes that are kind of in the middle. But your walk-ons are not going to get treated like the best of their best athletes. And here at Baylor, with Coach Ford and Coach Ben, they're going to coach every athlete like they're the greatest athlete. You're going to get the same coaching. They're not going to treat you any different. They're not going to treat you any less of a person. You're not going to be a number. You're going to get treated like a human being. They're going to love you. They're going to help you build, grow as a human, whether it's a woman or a male. And it's just a lot of love around this program. And like I said, I think the person who has had the biggest impact on me is Brother K, because it's just like when I need that heart-to-heart spiritual talk, like if I am going through something, or if I'm feeling like, man, I'm not doing so good on the track, I know I can always go to Bro K, and he'll tell me, well, he might tell me some things that I don't want to hear, but at the end of the day, when I take it and walk off with it and I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I could use it. And it was just like a true family here. And I feel like if I would have went anywhere else, it wouldn't be the same.
Deshaun, for you to have Baylor across your chest, being at the same university as someone like Michael Johnson, a storied track program that Todd Harper's been at the helm of for well over a decade now. And prior to that, I mean, Todd's one of just a couple of coaches in program history because Baylor is that storied of a track school. Yeah. To have Baylor across your chest, even for now just a few months, what does it mean to you already?
It means a lot. A lot of people would take away that we're not as good as other Power 5 schools because we're a private school and we don't have and don't have the big numbers. Is a great.
Deshaun, I think we lost your audio there for a second. Let me know if you can hear me. See if we can get him reconnected here. Again, we got Deshaun Jones joining the show today at Baylor Track and Field. Deshaun, look at his numbers so far this season, what he's been able to put together. Deshaun started at Baylor as a mid-year enrollee coming to the university from Barton Community College, 11th in his first track meet, 5th in his second, and then Big 12 champion in his third at Baylor. Deshaun, let me know if you can still hear us. Now moving into the outdoor season, placed 4th, 2nd, 7th, ranked 5th in the Big 12 like we talked about. And Deshaun, we got you again now?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Perfect. You're all good. Deshaun, I'm sorry we cut you off there, but what it means to wear Baylor across your chest.
Like I was saying, I love how Baylor is all about tradition and love and family and faith. And when you have all those, you really can't go wrong. When you got a coach that loves you, is going to coach you like you were his son. And when you got trainers that's going to love you and help you better, you got a head coach that's you see every day that you can communicate with and talk with. Because most head coaches, you never, like some head coaches at some programs, you'll never see them until it's like time to go to a meet or something. And seeing Coach Harbor and just seeing everybody's face every day and speaking to everybody, it's like the tradition that Baylor has is second to none. And a lot of people would downplay it because we're a private school and be like, man, y'all really are not that. And it's not even about, to me, here it's not even about running fast or going out there and being the best. It's just about having fun with your brothers and your sisters and being able to rock the green and gold and just having fun. And then, like I said, you have fun, you trust your training, everything else is going to take care of the rest.
Deshaun, with it from a team standpoint, 10 top 8 individual rankings right now in the conference, competing as a team with Baylor. What is the outlook on this weekend from a team standpoint?
From the men's side, I can say that we honestly, if we go out there and compete to the best of our ability and everything goes well, I feel like we could have a top 3 finish as a team. And I feel like we'll have a lot more individual Big 12 champions going outdoor than we did indoor.
Deshaun, last question here for you. Your personal mindset. I know you talked about trying to go out there and compete. When it comes to the race coming up this weekend, what is going to go through your mind? How do you prepare yourself for a race this big in the outdoor to again compete for a Big 12 championship?
Well, I try not to think about it as going out there and defending a Big 12 championship, because then that's when you start to put unnecessary pressure on yourself. So I look at it as like an opportunity to do what I haven't done all season. I haven't ran the times that I know I could run. I haven't ran really fast, but per se, in a person that's looking at times, I haven't really ran fast. So I look at it as an opportunity to go out here and compete and put down a time that I know I could do, and just, in my heart, if I run to the best of my ability, I truly feel like then I will come out as a top 3 finisher. And so I kind of like would say I treat it as another race. Just go out there, execute your race plan, and just have fun. If you have fun, go out there, execute, trust your training, you have no choice but to do well. And Coach Ben has coached me from the day I stepped on the track till now. Coach me. And having a coach that believes in you and can see that when you're frustrated, he talk to you and like, hey, don't worry about it. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. When it's time to run and when it matters the most, it's going to come. And like some athletes need that, because like me as an athlete, I'm hard on myself. Like if it could be the first meet of the season, no practice, no anything, and I just go out there and run, and I could drop something horrible, but I'm still going to be hard on myself because I know I'm better than that. And having a coach like that understands that you want to do good, but you're not always going to perform at your best, and taking the time out to adjust things and help you work on the things that need to be fixed. That way, when it gets to like these meets that are important, it's like win or go home, you're ready. It means a lot. And I can say, honestly, Coach Ben has been a true help and blessing to my success here at Baylor, and we will continue to build on that for the rest of my duration here.
Well, Deshaun, I want to thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today, especially on the heels of this Big 12 championship meet.
Yes, sir.
Your season's been unbelievable, and I know you'll be competing again this weekend for possible Big 12 title, and we'll be cheering you on all the way from Waco.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm blessed that you have me.
Absolutely. Deshaun, thanks again. That was Deshaun Jones from Baylor Track and Field, who is competing this weekend at the Big 12 Championships. Deshaun, already an indoor Big 12 champion, and now he'll take those talents to Manhattan, Kansas, where the team is competing in the conference championship. He does the 110-meter hurdles. Deshaun Jones of Baylor Track. When we come back from this break, we're going to be joined by national baseball, college baseball analyst Noah Darling from CWS 24/7 to talk about Baylor baseball and how Baylor baseball is making a splash in conference play and across the country coming into postseason play. Baylor baseball is getting hot. We'll hear perspective from a national analyst on what this team can do to help bolster their postseason resume and just keep on winning. I'm Drake Toll, Jack McKenzie, Marquise Cooley. When we come back, we're joined by national baseball analyst Noah Darling. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Happy Jersey Day, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Cullen coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's second team. Gilbert led the team in batting average, and Hott reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, Jersey Thursday, everybody. May 13th, rocking and rolling with a big weekend of Baylor athletics coming up. You got track and field in Manhattan for the Big 12 championships, Baylor softball in the Big 12 championships, men's tennis in the final 24 in the national championship tournament, final 16, I should say, and Baylor baseball taking on Oklahoma State up in Stillwater. Joining the show now to help us break down the national scale of college baseball, Baylor baseball, and how Baylor fits in the national scale is Noah Darling of CWS 24/7 on Twitter. Noah, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, no problem. It's a great opportunity, and as a fellow Big 12 fan, despite not having a baseball team, it's an honor to be able to come on a fellow Big 12 brethren show.
Yeah, there you go. Noah, first and foremost on that front, you got a pretty good following when it comes to Twitter and your site, the content you put out with college baseball. Iowa State doesn't have a baseball team. How did you get started with this?
I really don't think I would be too into it if I didn't live in Omaha, because it's just that hard to get into. But yeah, that's a really interesting question. I don't know how I became an Iowa State fan, and I certainly don't know how I became a college baseball fan, but I think they're both great fits for me. They're prime examples of what I really strive for, and I think that it's a really good fit for me for both sports, and I really appreciate the opportunity that have come from both, really.
I love it. Noah, looking at the scope of collegiate baseball right now, and obviously we cover things from a Baylor perspective, I want to give you my first questions very broad. I mean, this is very open, very broad, and that is, where the hell did Baylor baseball come from?
I think it starts with coaching and development. You look at Steve Rodriguez, he's done a great job. Baylor was projected very poorly to begin the year in the Big 12, and I think that was a miscalculation. And then they went ahead and they started poorly to back that up. But you look at they won four straight Big 12 series. They are excellent against the teams they're supposed to be excellent against. They have one of the best offenses in the country. I think they rank 8th in overall batting average in the country. And you don't really hear people talking about Baylor baseball, but I think they're going to be an extremely dangerous 2 seed. And I think that if it was a normal year where we were getting announced, here are your top 16 seeds after the Big 12 tournament, I think Baylor could have an outside shot at that 1 seed, but with those being announced tomorrow, I don't think there's any way. But I think that they have the opportunity to play themselves into an incredibly high 2 seed, which I think that's where they're at right now, or they have the opportunity to play themselves down in that 3 seed range. But I do think they are squarely in the tournament right now.
What I see, Noah, when I look at Baylor baseball and coming into this season, especially after that first weekend, the opening 2 weekends, it looked like Baylor wouldn't make the postseason. They weren't projected early in the year to make the postseason, and they were playing about where folks thought they would be. Was there ever a point, even before the year, where you thought, all right, Baylor baseball could be a contender?
Not really. Baylor was not on the radar to begin the year, certainly not. I remember back in 2019 where they were the team. They were that team that in the Big 12, this team could be really dangerous, the Shea Langoliers of the world. But now, no, it just wasn't on the radar. But now they are definitely one of the teams, especially just taking a little bit of a deeper dive into them. This is a team that if I'm a 1 seed, I really, really do not want to see them in my regional.
Along with that, we talked earlier in the show about the pitching staff that Baylor's put together now and what Helton has been able to do, Hayden Kettler's been able to do. You've got, obviously, Tyler Thomas, your Friday night guy, some of the younger arms that are throwing out there. And then on the side of the lineup, Jack Pineda, Trey Richardson, Jared McKenzie, Andy Thomas. Who are some of those guys maybe that stick out to you, or what is it about this team that's going to make them dangerous moving forward?
Andy Thomas is your prototypical what makes college baseball great. Just listening to him on the show yesterday when you had him on, he was one of those guys where you listen to him and you can see Baylor going on a run. One of those guys is going to challenge the guys in the dugout. He has that leadership. You really like having a catcher that can lead the team. When you think about catchers who lead, the Buster Posies of the world, the Adley Rutschmans of the world, those guys succeed. Those guys go to Omaha. I think that Baylor has that opportunity because of that leadership that they have with him. And then on the mound, Tyler Thomas. Nobody's talking about Tyler Thomas. Tyler Thomas is incredible. I think that with those two, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw Baylor win the Big 12 championship. And like I said earlier, that would have really helped their postseason resume if the NCAA hadn't messed up the selection this year.
Looking through what we've got in Big 12 play, Baylor opens up 1-5 against TCU and Texas. And at that point in the season, people had a good idea that TCU and Texas would both be top teams in the Big 12. But they've emerged as top teams in the country, 2 powerhouse programs this season. So how much do you take away from Baylor going 1 for 6 in those games against TCU and Texas?
I think there's something there when you talk about eventually you're going to have to, like if Baylor's going to go to Omaha, they're going to have to likely beat a 1 seed in a super regional and obviously in their regional. But I think that you're looking better upon it when you look at that Texas Tech series where Baylor didn't just win, they went ahead and had no trouble scoring against Texas Tech. And that's a good Texas Tech team who probably has a little bit better talent overall. They just quite haven't put it all together. I think those teams have the opportunity to be national seeds, and it is a little bit concerning with that TCU sweep. But overall, I think with the way the season has gone forward, you've really seen Baylor grow, and that was evident in the Texas Tech series. And then you've really seen the offense really put it all together in that Kansas State series.
Along with it, I'm looking up and down the schedule, and Baylor has not been able to complete a sweep in the last 4 series, but they have won each of the last 4 series against Kansas State. They knocked off West Virginia, and then also got a win against Texas Tech in Lubbock. With those series, Baylor playing as well as they have, going 8-4. Did you expect that? Could anybody have expected that, especially the way they started Big 12 play?
I don't think so. I'm sure that the people who are close to the Baylor program knew the leadership that they had there with the Andy Thomases of the world and that pitching staff that has a lot of depth. I think that Baylor is a team that was always a little bit dangerous, but I don't think anybody was talking about them being a 2 seed. I think when they beat Texas Tech, that was really when people started to take notice. And you see them now as a 2 seed pretty much across the board. And I know I have them as a very high 2 seed right now.
Basketball, the game of college basketball is streaky as all get out. One team gets hot and they can go on a run and win 7 or 8 games, especially games they're not supposed to. The game of baseball can be different. You can go out, win a series against Texas Tech, lose to Texas Southern, and then sweep Texas. Anybody can. How streaky is baseball in general, and how much confidence does a win streak or a hot streak like Baylor's on right now give this team?
I think baseball is relatively streaky during the regular season, but I think during the postseason, you generally see a lot of chalk. People like to think that the NCAA baseball tournament is one of the better setups for really anybody to win, but they're Cinderella for a reason. When they get to Omaha, it just doesn't happen very often. But I think that the 1s and the 2 seeds of the world have the opportunity to run right through regional. It's amazing how quickly regionals go by every year just because these teams, they go and they take care of business. But I think that Baylor has a fantastic opportunity with their regular season run to really give them that high 2 seed, and that's certainly something that's only going to help. It's obviously a good thing to win games. So I don't think it has long-term effects as much as short-term, but I do think that it's good to see a team string together a bunch of wins over teams you're supposed to beat, because that's really undervalued. It is important to finish off sweeps, though, which we would love to see Baylor do in Stillwater this weekend.
Noah, is there another team that you've covered or watched in collegiate baseball over the last couple of years that you would compare this Baylor team to that you really liked moving into late season or postseason play?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say you mentioned it earlier on the show, so it feels like it's a little bit recency bias, but Coastal Carolina a little bit in terms of they're a little bit slept on, but that feels like a lazy answer. Maybe like an Arizona in 2016 who played Coastal Carolina in the national championship, but they went on the road in Starkville and won a super regional that nobody really thought they were going to win. So there are a few teams that are like this that can really, really tear the cover off the ball and put up runs in a hurry. So it's hard to pinpoint an exact one, but there have certainly been several. It's hard to do it because Baylor is not quite on that level of national champion favorite. So it's hard to find those trendy 2 seeds, but I think that there are a lot of those this year. Like I would say that they compare a lot to Pittsburgh, just in terms of you don't want to see them.
Along with it, Noah, before we go forward to the series against Oklahoma State this weekend and moving into Oklahoma, your thoughts on the Kansas State series? I know some of those numbers were gaudy. The 17 runs in game 1, 23 in game 3, and the 17-run inning. That's almost unheard of.
It's not very often you look at a team's last 6 games and you see a total of 60 runs, or 5 games and 60 runs. And that one loss coming to Jordan Wicks, who is an elite arm, probably the second best arm in the Big 12. Ty Madden might have a word. But it is incredible to see those kind of runs put up, and it just shows that Baylor can score with anybody in the country, and I think that that's exactly what makes them dangerous, is just how well they can hit the ball. And like I said, that leadership that they have. Thomas yesterday was talking about how well he can just challenge the next guy behind him. Well, I got 3 hits today. You only got 2. What are you going to do for me tomorrow? I think that he is the exact type of guy that can lead this Baylor team past where the preseason projections had them, where he's already done that, and into the postseason. And I would not be surprised at all if we saw Baylor in a super regional.
When you're looking across the country and seeing names like Kumar Rocker or Kevin Kopps, I mean, you've got some elite pitching across the nation. Is it better this season to have one of those ace elite arms or an offense that is putting up numbers like Baylor?
I've always thought it was a strong mixture of both. Obviously, it's a perfect recipe. But I think this year in particular, you're really going to want to be able to hit the ball because of how many of those pitchers that you can just rattle off, the Kumars, the Jack Leiter, the Kopps out of the bullpen. I don't think anybody has been able to hit Kevin Kopps. You look at the Big 12, a few excellent closers as well. And I think that the ability to string hits together is really underrated. It's the small ball era is on its way out, and people want to see the big fly. And I think that if Baylor can perform the small ball, you're going to be able to get to the Kumars if Baylor were to run into that one of them.
Moving forward, Noah, looking at this weekend, a big series against Oklahoma State in Stillwater, 6 p.m. tomorrow, another night game, 6 p.m. on Saturday, and then a 1 o'clock start on Sunday. I mean, this is a big one for both squads. Both teams trying to bolster their postseason resumes. Whoever wins this series, it could end up being the difference in a 2 or 3 seed going into the postseason. What do you make of Baylor OSU in Stillwater?
Both teams have a fantastic opportunity, like you said, to improve their resume. Oklahoma State right now is borderline not in the tournament at all. They if they get swept, you could easily and probably will see them outside of the tournament come Monday in a lot of projections. But Baylor, I don't know how much of an opportunity they really have to bolster their resume. I think that when you're squared into that high 2 seed with regional sides literally being announced tomorrow, you can't really improve your resume that much. But I would say that keeping that 2 seed is important. That way you can handle the 3 seed, and then you can really start to manage the way you pitch, manage the way you prepare for opponents in regional play, and then the super regionals, hopefully. But I think Oklahoma State absolutely has to deliver, and I think Baylor has a fantastic opportunity to silence their opponent and maybe put a little bit of a cap on this Big 12 race for 4th.
How big is it, too, if Baylor is able to sneak that 3 seed on top of Texas Tech in Big 12 play? Obviously, the Bears have that tiebreaker over the Red Raiders, but it's tight right now. Is it going to make a difference between the 3 and the 4 seed in Big 12 conference standings, really?
I don't really know, other than lining up with with Texas, I believe is a 2 seed. It doesn't really make that big. Either way, you're going to have to beat the top dogs to win a Big 12 championship. And with the way the NCAA has set up the tournament selection, you can't really improve your resume, which is really unfortunate. So it doesn't make a huge difference, but it is something to play for. It's something to pride yourself on. And I think Baylor has the opportunity to maybe turn some heads, even though it may not be all that important come seeding time.
With Oklahoma State, I'm looking up and down their schedule going into this season. I mean, it's fairly comparable to Baylor's, aside from the fact that OSU, rather than getting hot at the right time, really hasn't been that great lately. What have you done for me lately looking at this team? Going into the weekend, what is your confidence level that Baylor's able to pull out a victory, even though it's in Stillwater, which is not an easy place to play?
I feel pretty confident that Baylor can win at least 2 of 3 there. They're playing incredibly hot right now. Their offense is fantastic. Oklahoma State just can't really keep up with the bats. And I think that when you look at Baylor, you see a team that they're really coming to their own right now. You don't want to play Baylor. Their leadership, Andy Thomas was talking about how excited he is to go play that series. That speaks a lot to me. Who's excited to go to Stillwater, Oklahoma? Andy Thomas is. And I think that that speaks volumes about where Baylor's at right now, and we know where Oklahoma State's at right now. They're not in a good spot. They were talking about hosting a few weeks ago, and now they're talking about we got to play to get back in the tournament.
Yeah. Along with it, moving into the Oklahoma series, OU is one of those teams. I compare them to Auburn. I think there were expectations that were there for Oklahoma, especially around the fan base, that they thought this was going to be a solid baseball season for them. They've had a couple of good years the last two, and they've really fallen off. I mean, just kind of dropped off the table in the Big 12 this season. When you look at Oklahoma and Baylor, that series being in Waco, is that a great chance for the Bears to even pull out a conference sweep to end this thing?
Oh, absolutely. I think that Oklahoma has had a tough go of things. They started the year, and their very first series of the year was canceled. Then they went ahead and played my now alma mater, UNO, and they struggled against a Summit League team that is fighting for a tournament spot in their own right. But the Bears have the fantastic opportunity to realistically win at least 5 of 6, maybe even 6 of 6 to end the season. And we're going to be talking about one of the hotter teams in the country headed into postseason play. Whether they can roll that into the Big 12 tournament immediately or not is something to be seen. And I'm not sure if you want to win in the Big 12 tournament, as odd as that is. We know in basketball, it's sometimes a little bit of a curse to go win the Big 12 tournament. In baseball, I don't really know how well teams have done, but I think that it's something to think about. You don't lose on purpose, but I think that it's important to stay hot, but you don't want to have to win like 15 games in a row to win a national championship.
See, LSU wins the SEC tournament every year, it seems like. And when's the last time Paul Maneri brought home a national championship to Baton Rouge? So I think you're onto something. That winning, you drain yourself when you win your conference tournament because it's just such a daunting weekend or week for a lot of these conferences. Noah, you released your top 16. And the NCAA will soon do its same, where it'll name the host sites. I'm looking near the bottom of this. You're seeing your Louisville, who is not the Louisville of old, not a Louisville team that you'd expect to see. Oregon, Stanford, Florida State, Louisiana Tech, of maybe that 10 to 16 range. If Baylor's to be a 2 seed and a 2 seed in those regionals, what is the most favorable matchup for the Bears?
I would think that Louisiana Tech would be an extremely favorable matchup, but for that you would have to be according to my rankings, the best 2 seed. I would say that Florida State is a very susceptible team. I don't really like Florida State, but they've been playing well lately. Not as well as Baylor, but they just recently took 2 or 3 from a very good Notre Dame team. I think that when you look at some of those teams, they're very susceptible to those good 2 seeds, of which there are a lot of this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of 2 seeds make the Supers. Baylor's going to be very high on my 2 seed list. So I would think that they would do very well against Florida State, definitely Louisiana Tech. Could see them doing well against Louisville. Louisville's RPI is in the mid-50s. Baylor checks in at 34. So I think that you look at Louisville and Florida State, those ACC teams, Louisiana Tech, certainly teams that I could see them slipping out of that top 16. And if they do host, that's maybe a matchup I like for Baylor.
Noah, when you're looking across the Big 12, you're seeing teams like Texas, TCU, Texas Tech, now Baylor, Oklahoma State still in that conversation, and even OU can be sneaky. Kansas State took a series against Texas Tech. I mean, this is a tough conference. Up and down, this is a tough conference. Where do you rank it amongst conferences in collegiate baseball?
I think it's the second best conference in the country behind the SEC. I think that the Big 12 is one of those where you've seen Baylor struggle to finish off sweeps. That's really where you define how tough a conference is not how often do you necessarily go on the road and win a series, it's how often do you finish off that sweep. And I think that that's helped a little bit by some looser attendance restrictions this season in the Big 12 as opposed to the Pac-12. And you've seen home field make a little bit of a difference. And I do think that the Big 12 easily checks in at number 2. And the SEC is untouchable, but I think the Big 12 is squarely in second place.
I love it. And Baylor right there with a chance to vie for to be in the top third of the Big 12 coming up this weekend against Oklahoma State. Noah, moving into postseason play, I'd love for you to get specific too. What is the best case scenario for Baylor to be able to make it to Omaha? Some of those teams they'd like to run into, whether it be in a super or in a regional, and don't say Arkansas.
I don't think anybody's best case scenario involves seeing Arkansas. I would say that the best case scenario would be getting as high of a 2 seed as possible and going out and getting in that Ruston, Louisiana Tech regional, getting paired up with Florida State, Louisville, a team that – maybe even a team that went out and won their conference that maybe shouldn't have, like Georgia could sneak in, not to a 1 seed, scratch Georgia, but somebody along those lines, somebody who really doesn't deserve to have that 1 seed. And I think that Baylor is, the way they're playing and the way that they're statistically they line up is almost on that 1 seed line. So I would think that your best case scenario is to go out and get that week 1 seed and then beat them and then win right away, win out in the regional, and then be fresh for a super regional appearance against hopefully a 2 seed. But I think that Baylor can compete with a lot of those top 8 seeds. I would say a bad scenario for the Big 12 overall would be being lined up with Texas Tech, or TCU. I don't know if that would be bad for Baylor specifically, but I would look out for Baylor to be playing a 2 seed in the super regional to feel really confident about the Bears having a fair shake. But I believe that the deal with super regionals this year is that the host team for super regional is set. So if you're a top 8 team and you lose, it's still on your field. So Baylor won't be gaining any home field advantage out of being the higher ranked seed in a super, which is unfortunate. So there is that element of a best case scenario taken out of the picture this season.
You talk about that, the element taken out of the season. My last question here for you, Noah. How screwed is Baylor baseball getting with the fact that the NCAA is announcing their regional host sites coming up in the next couple days?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for a lot of 2 seeds, Baylor included. I think that if Baylor were to go win a Big 12 championship, there would be a lot of people saying, well, why not have Baylor as a top 16 team? I don't know where they shake up right now on the people who put the bracket together. I don't know if they're a top 25 team. I think they might be right on the fringe of that. But I think that they do have that opportunity to go take 6 of 6 from Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, then do some damage in the Big 12 tournament. I would think that we would be talking about a 1 seed for Baylor. But with the way that the seeds are announced, it's almost like it's hard to say you're not playing for anything, but it takes away the reward of, well, we can improve. Because I think it's going to be – it's easy for any team to fall to a 3 seed, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder for Baylor to fall to a 3 seed than it would be for them to rise to a 1 seed with the rest of the way. And then I think when you combine that with the super regional, taking away the element of potentially hosting as a 2 seed out the window, I think that really hurts too. I don't understand some of the decisions made by the NCAA, who does, but Baylor has gotten screwed a little bit, but you guys do have a national championship in basketball to hang your hats on. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, there it is. I love it. We'll mention that anywhere we can. Hey, really quickly here, Noah, our Bear Games question today for all callers and guests. Baylor baseball put up a 17-run inning on Sunday, so we talked about Monday. What's the worst team loss you've ever experienced as an athlete or maybe Little League, a coach, a fan, whatever? And then we kind of progressed throughout the week. Today's is, what is the worst individual performance you've ever put up in a competition?
Okay. I know exactly what it is. So I was an everyday starter at second base in Little League come 8th grade, I believe it was. And I remember the day was May 11th of my mom's birthday. I went out there and I just made error after error. I think I want to say it was at least 10 errors. There were no stats. It's Little League. I don't know what the stats were, but I did lose my starting job at second base. Every grounder that came my way just whizzed by me. Tried to turn a double play, just drop every ball. It was just a complete disaster. Mind you, it's also like 100 degrees. This is just not going well. I think I played outfield the remainder of the season. That is easily the worst athletic day of my career.
On your mom's birthday. Wow. How selfish of you. How selfish. Hey, Noah, darling, thanks so much for joining the show today and talking college baseball. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is a real fun time.
Absolutely. I hope to do it again soon. Again, that was Noah Darling, CWS 24/7 on Twitter. Follows closely with college baseball, and hopefully Baylor, like you talked about, Baylor can make a run later this season. We come back from this break. Pat Combs, who calls Baylor baseball games on ESPN+, joins the show. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Happy Jersey Day, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Cullen coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's 2nd team. Gilbert led the team in batting average, and Hott reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots.
No, go find your own.
Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
And welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll coming at you from 101 Elm today, May 13th, baby. Thursday, rounding out the show today, your 1:30 hour. I tell you what, big weekend coming up in Baylor Athletics. You got the tennis team. They're down in Orlando, Florida, competing in the final 16, Sweet 16 of the NCAA Championship. Women's golf team just punched their ticket to the NCAA Championship. You got softball going on in the Big 12 Championship along with track. And then the big show on dirt, the greatest show on dirt this spring, out of nowhere, Baylor baseball. They're at Oklahoma State this weekend. And joining the show today from sunny Florida, I take it, is Pat Combs. Pat, thanks for coming on with us.
Hey, Dre, great to be with you guys. Yeah, it is sunny today, and we're even watching some baseball here in Florida.
My goodness. So you got you in Florida. Now Baylor tennis is also in Florida, and you got to fill me in. I guess you said you're watching your boy play some minor league ball.
Yeah, my youngest son, Casey, is a catcher in the Marlins organization, so he's playing here A-ball with the Jupiter Hammerhead. So we're here in Jupiter, Florida, enjoying the time and getting to spend some time with Casey.
I love it. Pat, you got to fill me in. Baylor baseball this season, we've been talking about it all day today. Projected 8th in the Big 12 coming into the year, and out of nowhere, they're now vying for a top 3 spot in the conference, knocked off Tech on the road, 4 straight conference wins, series wins. Where did this Baylor baseball team come from?
Well, I think that's the $1 million question, right? It's, but I'll tell you that there are some answers to that question, and I think, first of all, it lies in the coaching staff. You've got Steve Rodriguez, who obviously came over from Pepperdine 6 years ago, brought his pitching coach, John Strauss, with him. Mike Taylor, who was a local hire. Mike and I, in fact, go way back. We played high school summer league ball together. So I've known Mike forever, one of the best recruiters in college baseball. But it goes, I think, starts with the coaching staff, just the incredible job that they've done. They, Drake, are great developers of talent. They don't get the 5- and 4-star guys. They're kind of like a lot like Scott Drew. He'll take the grinders and the gritty player that wants to learn, get better, and grow, and they develop these guys. So it starts with them. And I think the talent was, I think, underrated coming in. You had a pretty young squad that was that Steve Rodriguez has put together, where you look at that lineup, there's 5 freshmen that typically start on the weekends, and that's almost unheard of in any Power 5 conference. So I think the coaches were looking at that at the beginning of the season, where Baylor got that number 8th rank in the Big 12, was this is a young team. It's an inexperienced team. Usually older teams in baseball win. So I think it's a blend of that youth, but the couple of returning key players, Andy Thomas is all world in my book, Drake. He's one of the best college baseball players that I've ever seen, and that includes Shea Langoliers, Davis Wenzel. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if Andy's going to get a big shot at the pro ball like those guys did, just because of the way the draft has been restructured. But he is as solid a college baseball player as you'll find from a leadership perspective, from the way he put that team on his back. His offense obviously has been off the charts the last few weeks. So Andy, Jared McKenzie, you look down the lineup, there's a couple of veterans like Davion Downey that have really nurtured and grown, helped this young team grow up pretty quickly.
You know, Pat, for yourself, somebody that's been around Baylor for a long time and through in the majors for years. You know, we've talked about these arms and how crucial it is that Baylor has a pitching staff with more experience. It's the older arms combined with the younger bats, the pop and the bats. How crucial is it, I guess, that these arms are so experienced?
Yeah, no doubt, Drake. That's obviously one of the big keys this year coming in. And part of the unknown, too. You had the known factor of the back end of the Baylor bullpen, which to me is probably tops in the country. You've got some savvy veterans there that have been around a long time. You've got one of the top closers in college baseball, Luke Boyd, but you got guys like Logan Freeman. You've got Ryan Lekich. You've got, a number of other guys that have really stepped up. Jimmy Winston's having a tremendous year out of the bullpen, leads the team in victory. So that was the known factor. The unknown was how well these starters could perform, especially during the course of the Big 12. So you've got guys like Tyler Thomas. T-Tom has really stepped up this year. He has become one of the most dominant Big 12 pitchers, has really been the Friday night matchup guy and has beaten a lot of the best of the Big 12. And then you look at the job that Hayden Kettler has done. Blake Helton has been spectacular. So these guys have really come through on the pitching mound. And I tell you what, it's fun to watch because going into any series that Baylor has a really good chance to win 2 or 3 or even have a sweep during the course of a Big 12 weekend.
Pat, Steve Rodriguez is one of those California boys. He's got that Pepperdine blood in him where, look, any game that you score 3 runs or more is a great game in that book. We're doing some bunts, some squeezes, some California small ball baseball. This season, throw it out the window. We're hitting home runs and we're scoring 10 runs a game. Like, you can have 7. We're putting up 12. This just feels like a different style of baseball than I've seen at Baylor in a while. What is your assessment?
Yeah, it really is, Drake. And I will tell you that historically has been what Steve has done. He knows how to put runners in motion. He loves to do hit and runs. He'll bunt with the best of them. But, yeah, it's a different squad this year. They are launching baseballs. And we saw it this past weekend against K-State. Man, these guys just went off. It's really quite remarkable. Usually you have 1 or 2 guys in the lineup that you count on as kind of your power sources. And Baylor up and down the lineup, minus maybe a couple of guys at the bottom of the order, but up and down the lineup, every one of those guys hit the ball out of the ballpark. And so we have seen a lot of crooked numbers that Baylor has put on the scoreboard. This weekend was, I think, a great example of that. We come out and score 12 runs on Friday night. They scored 23 on Sunday, set all kinds of records in that blowout, went over K-State. But the long ball has worked. And so Steve, I think as great coaches do, they acclimate to the lineup that they've got. And he has definitely done that. You still see him kind of put some runners in motion, try to put some pressure on defenses, but he is really intent with letting his guys get on base and letting some of this power show through. And you're seeing 2, 3-run homers on a regular basis out of this club.
Pat, one of the things that I think is lost on a lot of folks, and we don't talk about it enough on this show when we reference Baylor baseball, you look at the bats that are solid. You look at the arms that are solid right now. But fielding, the defense, that was a big question mark. I look back to the Blue Belt Classic where it was, you got 2 or 3 errors a game, and that was just normal. You see the switch between shortstop and second base and a couple other pieces that are moved here and there, and now the defense just seems like it is locked down too.
Great point, Drake, and it really has. The defense has been spectacular. There was a key move made, I want to say it was right after the Texas series, where Steve flipped Jack Pineda, who was the starting second baseman to start the season, and Trey Richardson, the shortstop, the freshman that came in from Kingwood. When he flipped those 2 guys on the infield and moved Pineda to shortstop, Richardson over to second, it totally changed the dynamic of this defense. And it's really hard to believe when you look back on it that was a key turning point in the season. But Steve said the same thing. He said, look, I just wasn't getting as much production. It didn't feel right. Of course, Steve, a former infielder that played minor league ball, played a number of years professionally, he understands that part of the game. And when he made that switch, it was huge for the defense. Then he also made another little switch at the top of the lineup. He took Jared McKenzie out of the leadoff spot and put Pineda there, moved McKenzie to the number 2 hole. McKenzie has benefited from that, but Pineda sure has as well. His average has come up probably 60, 70 points since that switch was made. So it takes great, minds and great baseball feel. And really it takes a lot of guts to make those moves because you start tinkering with the middle of your infield, the top of your lineup, man, it sometimes can be a disaster. And those moves have both worked out for Coach Rod and the Bears, and it has been real fun to watch.
Pat, rolling into the weekend series against Oklahoma State, these are 2 teams that are on the opposite end of the spectrum. OSU started the season with hosting aspirations, top 15, top 20 team most of the year. Now they've gone cold, and Baylor is maybe the hottest, one of the hottest teams in the entire Big 12. What's the dynamic that we're going to see in Stillwater going into this weekend from your assessment?
Yeah, it's like the Cowboys have reverted to the Cowboys of old, back when I played against them, right? That they always had those big offensive teams. Their pitching always struggled. It seems to me that's kind of where they've gone this year. The pitching has been a struggle. Josh Holiday has switched out a number of starters, trying to find the right combination of starters and relievers. So they, even this weekend, you saw a little bit of jumble with his rotation. So it's not set. And that has been a huge question mark for the Cowboys. They're going to put some numbers up. They always swing the bats pretty well. Of course, in that beautiful new ballpark there in Stillwater, that'll be, I think, a little bit of a challenge for the Baylor players who have been there, just not knowing what to expect, to be a new atmosphere for them. It'll be lively. They're going to sell out this weekend. It's, this time of year, Oklahoma State, when it comes to baseball, they always have a rowdy crowd. So it'll be a big challenge for the Bears. But I think what you're going to see is the Bears offense continuing to stay hot. Drake, I was really impressed with how they came out last weekend after a 10-day layoff. You get to this portion of your schedule, and, man, you hate to take 10 days off because that offense was really rolling. And you talk about, hitters not seeing live pitching for 10 days, pitchers not pitching to live hitters. It was kind of a really unknown, going into last Friday. And, boy, did that offense turn it on from the very get-go. They put up cricket numbers first 3 innings, and it was off and running like that offense usually does. So I think you'll see a pretty good offensive output. The key is going to be the Baylor pitching holding up throughout the weekend. And I got to believe at this point with where those guys have shown, the Bears are going to be just fine. I think they win 2 out of 3 here against Oklahoma State.
Pat, how unreasonable is it to think that Baylor can or will win 5 out of these last 6 with Oklahoma State and against an Oklahoma team they fell to 9-3 earlier this year?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. You go on the road against Oklahoma State, that's always a challenge. One of the tougher places to play in the Big 12. You got Oklahoma at home. I feel more confident, obviously, with that. The Baylor home record now, I think it's something like 23-4. They are really tough at home. And so I feel really confident the Bears can win 2 or 3 or possibly even sweep OU. OU is not as strong this year. Again, having some issues with their pitching staff. So I just feel really good that this Baylor lineup is going to continue to produce at a high rate. And to me, the pressure is on the opposing teams to try to figure out how to shut this lineup down.
And Pat, one of these last questions I got here for you. Moving into the postseason for Baylor, they're looking at locking up a 2 seed right now, trending up, and a lot of the national analysts are starting to talk about this team. Where do you see this team being able to make a run? I mean, what is it going to take for them to try to vie for a spot in Omaha?
Yeah, this is, to me, it's getting down to, it always does this, Drake, in baseball. You know this if you're a baseball fan. It's not the best team on paper that wins these games. It's the team that plays the best at the end of the year. So who's putting it all together? Who's pitching well, playing good defense? Who can score enough runs to win? Right now, this Baylor team is dangerous. And I think that's the thing you look at is that they are starting to come on and peak at the right time. And this is where you want it to happen. I look at TCU, Texas. We knew they were going to be strong this year. We felt like Texas Tech was going to compete really well this year. But I tell you what, going to the Big 12 tournament after the next couple of weeks, nobody wants to play this Baylor team, and that's what makes them so dangerous. They're a dangerous team. And the other thing I think about in terms of the regional, if they can get a good regional, I've seen projections of them being put in the Fayetteville regional with Arkansas. That'd be tough. The Hogs are good, right? They're really good. I called some games with them earlier this season, and they've got a complete team, and they've shown it all year. So I'm hoping that they can avoid that regional. And I think if that happens, Baylor has a good shot to get to a super.
I love it. Last question for you here, Pat. The number of the week this week has been 17. 53 minutes, 17 runs in 1/2 inning. I mean, is that one of the crazier things that you've seen in the game of baseball over the years?
Drake, I've been involved in baseball since, let's call it 45 years now. I have never seen that happen. And, 13 runs without Kansas State recording an out. I mean, that's unheard of. This is Division I Power 5 baseball. That doesn't happen. So it was really fun to watch. It was a historical moment. And, of course, the Baylor players always handle things with grace. You don't go up there and try to make outs. You're just playing the game. But at some point we were thinking, gosh, this inning has to end at some point today, right? Yeah, but 17 runs later, 9 hits, 6 walks, a hit batter, a batter that reached base after he struck out. I mean, everything happened that inning. It could happen offensively for the Bears, but that's the type of team they have. They just they know how to play the game. They have very professional, mature at bats, and that's what you love about this team. To beat this team, you got to have probably a really strong left-hander that can dominate a left-handed lineup. And I don't see any right-hander shutting this lineup down. So it's a lineup built to win.
Well, hopefully they carry that momentum, all those runs. Maybe they saved a couple for Stillwater this weekend. They're going to need them against Oklahoma State. Pat, we do our Bear Games question of the day every day on the show for our callers and guests. Monday, based off that 17-run inning, Monday we were asking folks, what's the worst, most demoralizing team loss that you've been on the losing end of? And then Tuesday, what's the biggest blowout win you've been a part of? Wednesday, we talked about your best individual feat as an athlete. And today, well, you got stuck on the day where we're asking folks their worst ever individual performance in a game as an athlete. Pat, what are you going with?
Well, I've got a really bad memory. I pitched in St. Louis in Busch Stadium. It was a Sunday afternoon game, but I was coming back from an injury and was trying to pitch hurt. I didn't make it out of the first inning. It was the only professional start that I didn't make it out of the first inning, and my elbow was just killing me, but it was just one of those deals. I probably shouldn't have done it, but I tried to get through it, and it didn't work. So that was my worst start. 1991, Busch Stadium, couldn't give you the exact date, but it was against the Cardinals, and it was a disaster.
Oh, lock it in. You said you had a bad memory, and then you named the season and where you were. So at least we locked those two in. Hey, Pat, thanks so much for joining the show today, giving us more perspective on Baylor baseball. It's a pleasure getting your thoughts on this team that's had such a great run already.
Anytime, Drake. Hey, let's do it again after they get through the winning the Big 12 tournament. We'll talk about that.
Let's do it again after they win it all in Omaha. What do you say?
Let's do that, too.
I love it. Pat, thanks again. That was Pat Combs, Baylor Baseball. ESPN Plus does color for those games and covers this team closer than most. I'm Drake Toll. We got Jack McKenzie. It's a full studio audience. What's going on, you guys? Rocking up in here with Marquise Cooley. When we come back from this break, we're doing celebrity birthdays and this day in sports history. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Happy Jersey Day, Baylor Nation. Just one day away from kicking off a weekend in Baylor sports that's loaded with track, baseball, softball, tennis, and more. In Baylor news, Nikki Collin has made her first outside hire by bringing Tari Cummings on staff as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears. Cummings was previously the head coach at the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and was an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Cincinnati, Houston, Arkansas, and Tulsa prior to being a head coach. Cummings and Collin coached together at Arkansas for 3 seasons. As a player, Cummings was all Big 12 at Oklahoma State. In golf, the Lady Bears are moving on. Jay Goebel and company are marching to their 6th NCAA championship berth in program history after the Baton Rouge Regional was canceled due to heavy rain. By rule, the top 6 seeds advance if there is a cancellation, and Baylor, the 3 seed, is moving on to the final 24 teams. In softball, the middle infield duo of Emily Hott and Lou Gilbert were honored yesterday with all Big 12 nods as both were named to the league's second team. Gilbert led the team in batting average, and Hott reached base safely in a wild 29 straight games. And track star Akira Nugent was named Big 12 Athlete of the Week after pulling off a double win at the Aggie Invitational with crowns in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles. Elsewhere in sports, 5-star guard Ty Washington has committed to Kentucky. 5-star baller and number 4 player in the nation Patrick Baldwin Jr. has committed to Milwaukee to play for his father. And Arizona State guard Remy Martin, a 2-time first-team Pac-12 guard, has entered the transfer portal. I'm Jack McKenzie, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den today, rounding out the final hour of Up Tempo with celebrity birthdays and this day in sports history. Jack, you tried your best yesterday.
I did.
You did your best, and your best was not good enough. But today, maybe today is the day.
We had the weird 84 moment yesterday.
We did have the weird 84. That was a very strange 84. The jinx. First, celebrity birthday, Debbie Ryan. And it's Debbie Ryan's birthday. How old is she?
30?
She's 27. Debbie Ryan's 27. Still, she's forever young. I want to be forever young. Robert.
Next time you guess.
Martin? Okay. Robert Pattinson.
Ooh.
Twilight.
35?
I'll go 32.
34. 34 years old for old Robert Pattinson today. Stevie Wonder, who, mind you, is not actually blind.
He's not?
No. There's a video of him on live television, like a mic stand falls, and he catches it. Yeah. Also,
Maybe
Shaq.
He's just Daredevil.
Shaq talks about him driving. He drove Shaq somewhere. Yeah, Stevie Wonder's. It's just a shtick.
The more you know.
How old is he though? Not blind Stevie Wonder.
80.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna go younger. 65.
70. He is 70. So Marquise is closer right there.
Fair enough.
Morgan Wallen, country singer Morgan Wallen, has a birthday today.
27.
Oh, hey! Morgan Wallen is 27 years old.
Yes, let's go.
Dennis Rodman's birthday is today.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I'm not going to be able to get close on this one. 45.
Okay, 45 is probably a bad guess. Marquise?
39.
39 is a significantly worse guess. Colt, what did you say?
Colt said 55.
59. Dennis Rodman's 59 today.
Told you I wouldn't get me close.
Scott Morrison. Anyone know who Scott Morrison is? Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert's birthday is today.
Ooh, 52.
Okay.
I was going to guess that. I'm going to go at 54 then.
56. Stephen Colbert today. Pusha T, the rapper Pusha T, is having a birthday today. Come on, you
Marquise,
guys.
you got anything?
Pusha T.
I feel like I should know this. 28.
Okay.
31.
43.
Oh.
Pusha T. Darius Rucker, Hootie of Hootie and the Blowfish, and then a country artist career. How old is he today?
Crap. I'm going to go 44.
Okay.
I was going to go 43.
Yeah, 54. He's one of those classic rock guys. I say classic. That's like a 90s. It's like, it's not grunge 90s, but it's pretty niche 90s. A little Hootie and the Blowfish action. This day in sports history, a lot of stuff happened. Why don't you guys guess what happened today?
Was there Grand National today?
Nope. We're well out of Grand National season. Marquise, what happened today in sports history? Close, but no. World heavyweight boxing champion James J. Jeffries retires undefeated after 7 title defenses, returns in 1910 to be beaten by Jack Johnson. What year did he retire?
So he returned from retirement in 1910.
Oh, well, we're using context clues.
I'm going to go with 1902.
Okay.
That'd be a long layoff.
Yeah, that is a long layoff.
I understand.
I would go 1907.
1905. Nicely done. 1905.
Okay.
This one's easy. VVOG soccer team forms in Harjavik.
Country of origin?
Nope. Don't even try.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with 1914. That was a terrible guess. That's World War I.
I don't even
27.
know.
Helicopter. A helicopter makes its first cross-country flight this day in sports history. 1942. 1942.
Colt from the back.
From distance. Manchester City beats QPR 3-2 at City of Manchester Stadium to win English Premier League title on goal difference from Manchester United.
One.
Citizens recover from 2-1 down with 2 stoppage time goals. First EPL title decided on goal difference.
08? Or was it 09?
2012. Sorry.
Jeez.
And the tradition senior men's golf Greystone G&CC Steve Stricker wins his first career major title by 6 strokes ahead of Billy Andrade, Paul Giodos, and David Toms. Nope, 2019. I'm Drake Toll. We got Marquise Cooley up in here and Jack McKenzie. When we come back, it'll be at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Actually, do. Please go somewhere over the course of the next 21 hours. We'll be back tomorrow morning. This is Up Tempo.